Hey everyone, I want to take a moment and let you know it's official. There's now memberships here at youtube.com/superhero speak. That's right. Show your love and support for the podcast by joining and becoming a member. And what does that mean, becoming a member? Well, the members will get an exclusive badge that will display next to your name so you can proudly tell people you've joined the conversation. You will get access to all of our videos and clips that we put on this channel throughout the week before anyone else. You will have access to those, plus an exclusive announcement every week. Once the subject of the week is decided and the artwork is created, you will be getting an exclusive message to let you know what the topic of the week is going to be before anyone else will know. And then finally, you will get priority in the chat. Sometimes when the messages come up, we don't acknowledge them. But if you're a member, we will always acknowledge your comments during the live show. So many great perks. Show your love for Superhero Speak. Click that join button and join the conversation. Hey, everybody, and welcome to Superhero Speak. I'm your host, Dave.
And John.
And Don.
Hey, the gang's all here to talk again once about Star Wars and people who suck. All right. Before we get to all that, how's everyone doing? John, how was your week? What's new with you?
Well, I'm on vacation for the next week. For once, I'm not going up to Connecticut. I'm getting stuff done here. And Don, I know that we had a little thing last week. I mean, you're so into Star Wars and everything, and you're kind of upset that that a lot of people are shitting on this new series. So I wanted to show you that even though I am not a fan of the new series, I am always going to be a Star Wars fan, and show you what I did. The first thing I did on my vacation was put this together.
Yeah.
I saw the pictures on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh, and here's the best thing, Don. You think that I would put a Lego Star Wars ship together and not spring for the light pack?
Yeah. Oh, nice. Oh, that's the shit.
Isn't it? Took me about
that is awesome.
8 or 9 hours to put the whole thing together. I think
I know.
I need to whiting out, but
yeah, that's awesome. Good shit. Yeah, no, I don't feel any type of way though. I mean, I'm okay. Like that's what I'm talking about right there though, John. Like, yeah, you love Star Wars. Maybe you don't love this show, and I'm okay with that. The thing that's going to get me in a mood, which I need to kind of control, is say, "Oh, Star Wars is dead," and we'll talk about that. So I'm not even. But nonetheless, no. Believe me, I don't feel any type of way about it, John. I love you. I don't believe everybody needs to like everything I like. I don't. So don't worry. But that's awesome.
If everybody liked the same things we did, it's like that would be like wishing on a monkey's paw. You would not understand the consequence of that. Anyway, it took me about it literally took me about 4 hours to put it together, and then it took me about another 5 hours to selectively take pieces of it apart so I could put the lighting in. And because you got to run the wires, and then it's like the bricks, they're not like if you put the wire under one, it doesn't go all the way down. So how am I going to fix it? I've got a Dremel. I'll get my Dremel.
Yeah.
And so alternately, I had my Dremel, 2 spotlights, all these little implements for needle nose pliers, and I had all this equipment sitting there trying to get this thing together right so it could light up. It was hilarious, but it's done now, so it's going on the mantle over my fireplace.
Yeah.
So that is that's the beginning of my week.
You had a birthday too that just passed.
Yeah, it was my birthday gift to me.
Well, happy birthday, sir.
Yeah, I live on my own. The cats don't have an Amazon account, so I had to get my own. But yeah, there you go. It was fun too.
Uh-oh.
It starts.
Which one you want, buddy? You want?
All right. I've always wanted to get a lightsaber,
You
man.
want blue? You want? Actually, these are like kind of I consider cheapy knockoff ones. Like I've got like Yodas and Anakin's right there. But these are actually my wife found them on a bidding site. But here we go. Anytime, let's duel. All about it.
The only time I've ever held one of those, and Dave will remember this, was at Finger Lakes, where I have this really cute woman who was flipping them around doing that. She started to teach me how to do it. She asked for a number. Oh well.
Yes, that's right, John. That's the spirit.
Right. Yeah, I should have done it right in front of her boyfriend. Anyway.
Okay. Well.
But anyway, so yeah, I mean that's my week. I mean, that's the beginning of my week. I plan on spending the time I would normally spend doing all this paperwork for work to and Dave, keep me honest. And Kassan, you can keep me honest too. I want to really start working on the final draft of my book this week. I want to get that damn thing out. And that's what I'm going to do this week. I've took the whole week off. I've got nothing else to do except try to find some place that will irradiate my cat. There's a whole thing about that.
Irradiated cats.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I need a night light and it has to be mobile. So yeah, that's going to be my week. Don, how are you?
Oh, I'm doing okay. I mean, I've had a boring week, and happy Father's Day. Throwing a kill. He threw it out there. So indeed.
Yes.
But yeah, like to start my Father's Day, I decided to get my Sawzall out and trim some branches from the tree. And I got you can't really see it, but my whole thumb is burnt because the Sawzall blade got bent. And I went to go like straighten it, but it was like really fucking hot. So there you go. Happy Father's Day to me. But that's about the most exciting thing that happened to me this week. I mean, the life of an analyst is, it's full of adventure, but I can't talk about
yeah. That's why we're analysts. We don't handle tools.
Right.
So, man, I
don't have a lot of skill points, but yeah, Dave, what's going on with
skill points? Yeah.
Let's see, my week. Not too much going on, but there's stuff going on with the podcast. Anyone who saw the beginning of the show. We now have memberships available here on YouTube. So if you would like to support us, click the join button, and there are some perks involved with that. You will get involved. You'll get a member's badge. You'll get some other nice little perks. You'll get the videos before anyone else, except for the live show, of course. And yeah, that would be great. The other thing is, I didn't realize that our Teespring store was defunct because we hadn't updated it in a long time.
Yeah.
So it's been relaunched. You'll notice on some of our videos, you'll be able to click down below directly onto some of the merch. For some reason, it doesn't show up on the live shows, but there is a link to the Teespring store. We have 2 T-shirt designs currently available. The logo with the one that Greg Horn did says Superhero Speak on it, and then we have another design that has our catchphrase on it: "Don't let your cape caught in the door." And right now, to celebrate the relaunch of the store, if you use the code SUPERHALF, you'll get 50% off of your order. So that'll be through to the end of June, I believe. We'll keep that coupon up there. So yeah, check it out. Support us. We'd really appreciate it. There's a link to the store in the description of the show. And yeah. And let's see what else. So Don and I both have a birthday on Wednesday. So to celebrate, my girlfriend and I, so last year, my girlfriend, I love bolognese sauce. It's like one of my favorite sauce. It's a meat sauce. And last year, but it's like anyone who's ever made bolognese, like if you make it the right way, it's a long process. So last year she made it for me for my birthday, and she said,
nice.
She asked me what I wanted this year, and I was like, oh, let's just do the same thing. Well, for those who don't know, in Philly, there's an Italian market down in South Philly. So we went down to the Italian market. We got all fresh ingredients from there and went home and made it. And so I was like, just do that for me again this year. And she, what you call it? This year she said, let's do it, but let's like go to somewhere. Let's rent a place somewhere. And so it's just you and me. So that's actually what we did yesterday. We rented a hotel room that had a kitchenette in it, and we went to the Italian market, bought the ingredients, made the dinner, and the best part was, while she was cooking, we put on FX, I think it was, and it was showing Return of the Jedi. So
Nice.
which is my favorite Star Wars movie, And
is that the one that's edited with the Vader no or not? Have you seen that? Where
Oh yeah,
where he's gonna throw the Emperor, but like in the new edited version, he's like no, like instead of just being a pimp in the original version and just doing it silently.
I don't remember.
Don't know
exactly at that point. It
you
was
probably
like,
heard it then. You're like, oh, I can't register this.
Yeah, it's also one of the newer versions where it's what's his face at the end as the ghost,
Hayden Christian instead of
Christian.
yeah.
So
I didn't mind that. That actually made sense to me, honestly.
My girlfriend also gave me my first birthday present. So I'm turning 50 this year, if anyone can see, and it's
yeah.
That's how I feel about turning 50. So so that was nice, and then of course our birthday is Juneteenth, so she works at a school, so she automatically has off. So we're going to be going and doing something on my birthday as well. But yeah, that's my updates. That was my weekend. Nothing extremely exciting, but relaxing. Nice way to celebrate my birthday. And unfortunately, I'm turning 50.
The t-shirts that we have. Remember the ones where you did what is it called? Where you did they made our logo out of all of this comments from our show.
Oh yeah, I have to find that artwork.
We should update that, because that was done what, 6 years ago?
Easily 6 years ago. It was before JD was on the show, because Ben did this.
We could you could have one where it's using like -3 font and still have leftover quotes from the show after you do the logo.
Yeah, that was
all right.
I liked those shirts too. I didn't like the white ones, but the black ones with the logo made out of what is it, an audiograph or whatever? I don't know, but
I think that's what it's called, an audio. Yeah, but you that's the shirts you wear at the convention. So yeah, I know you like those shirts.
Yeah.
So well, yeah.
Thank you for tuning in to T-shirt Superhero Speak.
Yeah. So I have a question. What do you call it when a short person waves at you? A microwave. All right. There's your inappropriate joke of the week.
You're gonna have to try harder. Not exactly in it. Well, kind of in it. Nah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Dad
I thought
jokes,
it was funny.
not.
It's a dad joke. It's a dad joke.
It's Father's Day. There you go. Okay.
Exactly. So, all right. The other thing I did this week, and so to get this ball rolling, is I did watch the episode 3 of the Acolyte.
So how did you survive?
I don't know. I didn't have an issue with have an issue with the episode. I don't know why so many people are mad at this episode, and I want to figure this out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh boy, we're gonna have a nice discussion today. This is gonna be interesting.
So we'll start with Don. What did you think of episode 3?
Okay. Well, if I had to score it, I'd actually score it on the low end for me when it comes to Star Wars is a 6 out of 10. I was interested that we do get to deal with another witch coven, because there's a lot of different Force religions out there that are not Sith, that are not Jedi, and obviously with varying degrees of power. But that's where they kind of lost me, because there was something that I was very interested in this new witch coven, but they never went over. Maybe we'll learn more about it. But I was like, why were you just blah? So
Yeah.
Outside of that, I did not find them wholly interesting because they seem to be very rudimentary in the Force compared to like the Jedi.
Yes. Yes.
So it's like, okay, it's kind of, so, I don't hate that particular group because that's, everyone's reducing this into, again, I don't want to get into spoilers, but where they call it like lesbian Force witches, it's like,
And we
okay,
already have the Night Sisters, so but they're not lesbian. I
sure,
guess that was the
but
problem.
you don't know. Some of them are. I mean, but
Yeah, it could be, but who cares, right? The Night Sisters are awesome.
yeah,
and
the Night
scary.
Sisters are awesome. So that's what I thought they were,
terrifying.
but they're obviously not Night Sisters of Dathomir. They're some sort of offshoot, and
Ex-
I would like to
Right.
learn more about them.
Except that the other mother is one of that race.
Mm-hmm. The Zabrak.
Hmm.
So overall, though, I think this is going to end up being a little bit more important than maybe people think. The big controversy is how the twins came to be. That's what, and I guess I'll talk about that more in spoilers. But that's the big atom bomb that everybody's, and again, according to me, unjustifiably saying that Star Wars is dead and he's nothing now because of this, and I just don't get any of that. If you tell me you're not that interested in what went down, which I really wasn't. I was a little interested, but they should have went into more detail. But then to see like this event, I thought that was like, oh, okay, cool. Now we're kind of seeing what happened. Like they're trying to play it off like May lit the fire, but I think someone else lit the fire, and I think that same person that lit the fire is our main acolyte with the fucking helmet. And I'll get into why that is. But so I liked it. I didn't love it, and I don't think it is stabbing Star Wars in the jugular like everyone's claiming. So I'm like, man, it's mid. I'm not gonna go crazy over it.
Yeah. John?
I feel like this was somebody's first draft of their fanfic, which was written while they were suffering from blunt force trauma to the head. I can see a story in there. I don't think it's a good story. I didn't know that in the Star Wars universe that steel and iron and stone were so flammable. Fire has all these magical properties in the Star Wars universe. All of a sudden, it can burn in a vacuum, and you can set fire to stone and metal. It's amazing, and I do feel like the fact that these kids are immaculately conceived through the Force is really cheapening what happened with Anakin. Anakin's birth was a direct result of the Force trying to balance out what Darth Sidious was doing. And
Okay.
You're going to have to cite that, sir, because that is under dispute.
Hold on.
But yes.
Finish your point, because
but an
I got a lot to say about it.
And an argument can be made for that. But this is, I mean, what was the point of this? It's like, why? I mean, I just, and the chanting was just, I felt like, I don't know. I felt like I don't know. I'm one of those people that has a hard time where people get embarrassed because I feel incredibly embarrassed. And you're talking, and I am somebody who used to be. Well, I used to be Wiccan. We would have like we would do chants and stuff. I mean, it was part of the religion. But
I need to make that happen, Thrawn. All right, sorry, go ahead.
But this was just, nobody was on set going, this is looking really stupid, people. This is not working at all. And then there was the whole May thing of, I love you so much, I'll kill you. It's like they aren't talking like kids. This whole thing just, this has done it for me. I don't want to watch any more of this series. I really don't.
Wow, really?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
It's not. The dialogue is on the level of M. Night Shyamalan, where nobody talks anything like a human would in that situation.
Did you ever watch the original Star Wars? Every actor that was in that movie, including Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher, all said the dialogue was clunky and not the way people
The dialogue
talk. And
was
it's true.
clunky. It wasn't embarrassing and just wrong.
Why is it
and
embarrassed? I didn't think anything about the dialogue was embarrassing.
Like, I get it, John. It was kind of goofy to me too. And I do agree with you a little bit that this
I have
is
the
like
feeling
kind
that
of
I'm gonna be
like Leslie
Yeah.
Headland, like fan fiction.
Okay,
I get
okay.
that.
Let me address that then, and then we can give Dave his go, because I can see that the steam start coming out of his ears, and that's usually what he says about me. But okay, I'm sure everybody could tell I'm a leftist. Okay, I don't care who you are, how you dress, who you love, whatever you do, as long as you're not hurting anybody, including yourself. I don't care. Everybody should be able to do what they want, be who they are, and the rest of us should just lay off of them. Okay. But when you're a writer and you go in and the point of your writing is to have an agenda, and I hate the fact that this is making me sound like some of those misogynistic people on Twitter and some of these YouTube channels, but she wrote this as an agenda to push LGBTQ stuff. I think she's hurting that entire movement by doing this. But the greater point is the writing sucks. And I think Kathleen Kennedy is just giving her a pass, like protecting her and not doing what you're supposed to do, and sit there and go, maybe we should add an editor to your team.
But she's working directly with Filoni. She was consulted by Filoni as far as creating this witch cover.
Yeah, I don't think he saw the final product. I don't know. This just doesn't. I'm not.
Look up Filoni's wife. It'll become clear. You will see.
Well, be that as it may, the point of this show isn't the characters. It isn't the story. It's it's exactly what that quote is that's floating around that they got from one of the interviews. It's the gayest Star Wars ever. Again, I don't care who you are. I don't care if they make a show about people who are gay or trans or whatever. I don't care. It's fine. I want to see good cinema. There's good cinema with that. There's good cinema with Star Wars. This is the worst of all the worlds to me. They just did it for all. It's done for the wrong reasons, and it shows in the writing. It shows in the direction this story is taking, and it's not. It bothers me. So okay, Dave, I'm done. I'm gonna take a sip now. You may go. Go ahead.
Quick,
tell me how wrong I am.
Thrawn says, "I hate how the dialogue level was always so low. I miss the dialogue that tells you what is going on." I
miss the dialogue that tells you what's going on by the dialogue, by the actual dialogue, not the narration. You're
right. I'm just curious if what Thrawn means, like if he has an example. But okay, first off, I'm going to go back to your statement from last week, where you feel like the writers and the actors doing their interviews, which has been going on a lot, not only with the Star Wars stuff, with the Marvel stuff. They say all this stuff in the interviews, and they push like they're pushing an agenda, but yet when you actually watch the thing, you don't like. I don't feel like it's being pushed in the actual show, and I didn't feel that. Like, okay, so there's a lesbian couple, but it wasn't in your face. It was one scene where one touched the other's face. They had one slight like intimate moment. But there's nothing in your face about them being lesbians. And I also want to point out that the fact that it's an all-female coven, and like that happens in real life.
Oh yeah, no, I've known all-female covens. Yeah,
but I'm saying when it's like there's no males around, of course they're going to find companionship with each other. It makes perfect sense. Like I have no issue with that. And I'm saying that as I wouldn't say I'm a conservative. I'm a libertarian, but it's like yeah, I don't care about that stuff.
Yeah,
like,
that's not the part I have a problem with. It's the storyline and the dialogue and the writing. It's not that particular situation. Yeah,
I want to address the creation of the twins. And the first thing I want to ask, because I want to make sure I say it right, and I know Don's going to have the answer right on the tip of his tongue. Darth Sidious's master was with a
Plagueis.
P. Plagueis.
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 Yeah, that's right.
So,
I remember
so
that.
the tragedy of Darth Plagueis, as told in Revenge of the Sith, was that he learned how to create life. He was a great master because he figured out how to stop death, and he could create life. So it was already done in the Star Wars universe before Anakin came along, and also that line is telling you it wasn't the Force that created Anakin. It was Sidious who created Anakin. Sidious did.
That's not canon yet. That's not canon
It's
as far
not
as I know.
canon, but it's heavily suggested, and Plagueis may be around during this time, so this could still all stem.
Thank you. That's my other point, is that Sidious is telling you Plagueis already did it. So it was already done at least once before, that life was created from the Force.
Okay,
This could be that time before that life was created from the Force.
Yeah,
Plagueis could be behind all of this.
One of the rumors that I've heard through some of the channels is that they're now making out to be that Plagueis got his idea of how to create life from this coven. Not confirmed, but that's the rumor going around.
It could be
okay.
It could be that way. It could be the other way. The coven could have taken the idea from him. But the other thing is, I really want to point out, is she never says they created the twins using the Force. Remember, we're also in a universe where
she says she created them. I mean, it wasn't in. I didn't see any beakers in the back and test tubes.
It doesn't matter.
But how she did that is still ambiguous.
Right,
it's completely
ambiguous. And the showrunner even said in an interview that, like, it wasn't just the Force, and it's complicated, and it's going to be revealed further on. And she refused to, like, say flat out, no, it was the same way Anakin was created, or that it was just the Force. Like, she basically said it should be revealed later on in the show, and, like, keep watching. So even she's saying it wasn't the Force. So yeah, and what did Thrawn say here?
Yeah, that could be. Yeah.
Okay,
actually,
that
one
would
of the witches.
That would be interesting, man. That would be interesting.
Like,
I don't know that the writing is smart enough to go in that direction, because that would have been a brilliant plot point. That would have made this whole thing. That would have put this whole thing in a new light. But I don't think there's. I don't think.
Now the only problem
smart
is
enough to have put that in there. She probably doesn't. She doesn't know anything about Star Wars anyway, and she wrote this. So
the problem with making it Plagueis, though, my only issue is that it does then tie it to the Skywalker saga, which they said this wouldn't be tied to the Skywalker saga. But yeah, like it does directly tie. It makes a direct line to the Phantom Menace.
Technically, the farther back you go, the harder it is not to tie the Star Wars saga.
Because the other thing is, it's only 100. It's only 100 years before Phantom Menace. True. Yoda should be on the Jedi Council too. So
Yoda should have been on the Jedi Council for. He should be in his 800th year, right? At this point.
No. Well, he died.
900. He was 900 and something when he died, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Yes.
He's definitely in the
800s now. He's a spry 800.
There was a man in the crowd, if I recall. Yeah, Thrawn's pointing out there was a man.
There did someone look like a dude. Here's what I want you all to do, though. I want you to look up, and Dave and John, I guess I'm not talking to you, but anyone interested, look up Abeloth. Abeloth. Okay, look at how she looks. Then look at the helmet of the dark helmeted figure in this show. There's a resemblance there. Okay,
who the hell is Abeloth?
She is a terrifying motherfucker. That's who she is. She's a dark side, like the most powerful dark side force entity that exists. And again, the helmet that we see in the show looks a lot like her teeth, because she's got fucking teeth all up her face. So I think the Zabrak mother,
Chainsaw Sidious or something,
right? Yeah, yeah. So I really think that the Zabrak mother, and I can't remember her name, is some sort of representative of Abeloth, or on some sort of witch coven of her own, and I think she's the antagonist, and she's the one. They play it off like May. Like, I know what you're saying. Like, how does brick burn? how did this rock fortress burn? Because I think that Zabrak witch, who again is some sort of like acolyte of Abeloth, did something. I don't think that's natural fire. I think that is some force shit. So there's my big thing.
Well, there's some people that are saying that Torben was the one who sabotaged everything and set the fire, because I don't know, which would
Sure.
give him a good reason to drink the poison later, right? I mean, like
that's the whole thing that, like, I also want to point out. This episode was a flashback to the event, but yet it still didn't answer all the questions. Like, there's still like they gave you.
He was a Padawan. How did he become a fucking master in 14 years?
As Obi-Wan
in
Kenobi
4
would
years,
say,
because right, he's in stasis for 10 years.
Yeah.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi would say, this was told from a certain point of view. So, like,
but that's a cop out, though. Come on.
No, it is.
I mean,
but I'm saying, like, this is
Jack and Jill
us,
was just told from a certain point of view. It's actually Shakespeare. Come on.
This episode is giving us Osha's point of view of the events of that night. I feel like they're going to then give us May's point of view of the events of that night, and we're going to find out the truth of everything.
May, the one who
that goes psycho like that.
The
I'm gonna kill
sociopath.
You.
Yeah. How are you going to stop me from leaving? I'll kill you.
This is
a loving sister. Yes.
This is Star Wars, and if they were created from the Force, there is an argument that Osha is the light side and May is the dark side, and that's how the dark side is all emotion, and that's how May would react. There's also a thing to point out: May goes through the ascension, Osha doesn't. That's what I feel like makes May more powerful than Osha, and twins act like that. I have twin granddaughters who are 5, and they are like, 1 minute they love each other, the next minute they hate each other. And I've also known lots, like I've heard lots of stories about twins, especially since there's twins in my family now, where it's like the whole thing with Osha wanting her own life. That a lot of twins go through that. Like, she felt like she was being forced in a direction. Like, that's another thing. I was so afraid they were going to make the Jedi out to be the bad guys.
But they still are.
They're not out of the clear.
Yeah.
But
which is wrong, because they keep every successive story that they're telling in the Star Wars universe is like chipping away at the
I don't understand why people are arguing like what the Jedi did was wrong. I don't feel like what they did was wrong. They did what the Jedi do. They look for force sensitive children, and they bring them to they ask them to join the order. They didn't force anyone. It was the Coven who like didn't want them there and was like, doing nasty things.
Right, but that Coven's running from somebody, and that was one of my problems. Who the fuck are they running from, and why? I think they're running from the Jedi, because they do use dark witch magic, and the Jedi in this period, like, there's peace in the galaxy, but I think it's a pretty uneasy peace. So I think the Jedi,
I mean,
any form of darkness, they're going to fucking eliminate. So, I think that's the big thing here. I think they're running from the Jedi. Or were.
I would agree, but again, and this could just be, I will give John, this could just be bad writing. If they're running from the Jedi, and those 4 Jedi came and found the whole Coven there, they would have sent a bunch of Jedi in to eliminate them if that's what they were running from. I feel like there's way more to this story than what was told in that episode.
There's got to be, because Master Torben is the key. He was a fucking Padawan in this flashback. Then he went into stasis for 10 years. By my calculation, if we say May and Osha are 18, like, how do you go from a Padawan to a master in 8 years? Like, so he got some sort of like fast track to masterdom, and I think it's because he did some crazy shit in this event. He was the one that got mind controlled, by the way, too, which I'll point out.
Yes, and I think that affected him, and I do think that's going to play a part. Son says the Jedi stated they have the right to test and train children. That implies nefarious power over the right to take children. this is every group that's been in power in history feels like they have the right to do things. Like that's just where we're at in the Star Wars universe at this point. Like,
but there's other parts of this. So like, what like when okay, Jedi
like
show up.
here's think about it. Think
wait.
about the Phantom Menace. Like Anakin's a little kid at the and Qui-Gon comes across them and goes, "Oh, this kid must have the Force." Tests his blood, which again we're not going to get into midichlorians in this show, but then right away it's like, all right, you've got to come with us and be a Jedi, and everyone was cool with it in that movie. Like they don't play it off.
Well, yeah, but that society grew up with
that
society grew up with Jedi. May and Osha don't know who the Jedi are because they were.
Osha does
insulated.
because she says she wants to be a Jedi.
Yep.
Yes,
he says
from where? She's never been told about the Jedi before. She was.
Yeah, I gotta agree with John there. I don't quite understand her. Like, oh, I want to be a Jedi. I mean, I understand you not wanting to be in your current situation. I've been there.
She doesn't want to. Like she says it, and to be honest, she doesn't want to be a Jedi. She wants to get away from the Coven. She doesn't want to be.
Would you like to be an exterminator? Yeah, sure, I'll be an exterminator. Would you?
I mean, the funny thing is, we're arguing about the kids being in one cult versus another.
Mm-hmm.
Just the Jedi is the cult that is backed by the government. The other cult is just the cult that's on the run from something. Like, and
the Jedi is supposed to be more than that. That's the other problem with the writing is
you're ignoring
it's reductio ad absurdum. It is reducing them down to something that they're really not.
But you're ignoring all of everything from the first 6 movies, where the whole point is the Jedi's hubris is what led to their downfall, and this is showing their hubris. Like, it's only 100 years is only a couple generations, like, or 4 generations. So, like, yeah, this is a good place to start to show the downfall of the Jedi. Like,
well,
and it's not a huge thing, but it's enough to show that, like, they're the space cops.
I'll tell you, I don't know. The downfall began when Sol handed an 8-year-old kid his lightsaber. Look, kid, look, wouldn't you like to become a Jedi? Let's give you one of the most dangerous weapons in the galaxy. All you have to do is thumb it on and she'd cut her own head off. Here, take a look at this, you little girl. What? That's how you're going to... none of it makes sense. The writing doesn't make any sense at all.
John, my teenage son is probably one of the most irresponsible people on the face of this planet. Yet, I love him so much that every now and then I will let him get behind the wheel of my 2021 Dodge Ram V8 5.7 liter engine truck. A lot of money I'm putting in his hands, but I'm a parent and I love him. And Sol is very emotional about these girls. I don't quite understand that yet. He is very into.
But your son knows what a car is and what it can do. Yeah, he's doing is handing her this little cylinder that she's never seen before, and don't touch that one button, not that button, not that. Oh,
he's a Jedi master. He's got it
there
on.
Goes my
I want to get to Sol in a second. Thawne says, "What power was pulled from the moon into May, and which was interrupted going into Osha, which
what power was pulled from the moon into May and which was interrupted going into Osha, which exacerbated their difference?" I mean, that would assume that the writing was that deep, and it ain't.
I don't agree with that, because we can see that May can use the Force push, which the rest of the Covenant, that's their only fucking trick, is a little Force push. But Osha, she can read, she knows what the fuck's happening behind the scenes.
You keep saying May is more powerful, but she's been training all this time with a master, while Osha stopped training for forever. Like for 4 years at that point.
You ever watch Dragon Ball Super?
Yeah.
Let me introduce you to Gohan, who's the most powerful motherfucker out of nowhere.
You're talking 2 different universes, man.
Right, but people love that one. What's wrong with this one?
Kassan says, we're arguing about giving each character a faction.
Each
Thank
character
you.
or faction, proper motive
Or
and emotional
faction, okay.
responses.
Right,
Yeah.
but that's the thing is, I will say that's the issue. It isn't so much the
We'll get a lot
proper
of that
responses
later.
because I feel like there are proper responses in this. Like again, I've seen twins that act like they do, and I felt like
I'll kill you.
that. Yeah, the dark side. I mean, like it works.
That was before she was inducted, dude. A normal, regular 8-year-old looking
No,
at
but
somebody
they
going,
both
"I'll kill you,"
they show
with
that they're
intent in her eyes.
they show they both can use the force before they even get to that part.
And yet still.
And you've never heard a kid say to another kid, "I'm going to kill you," in your life? Ever?
It's very, very rare, and it usually means
No,
that the
it's
kid
not
is really
rare.
troubled.
Kids get emotional and they say stuff like this. Like it happens.
I come from a family of 5 where all of us kids were beaten half to death half the time, and we never said that to anybody. None of us
know
said
I said
that.
it. I know when I was little, I
We'd get
probably said that to
angry.
my
We'd say,
brothers.
"I'm going to beat the crap out of you," but not, "I'll kill you."
I've
siblings.
heard my 5-year-old twins say that to each other. Like it happens. Kids say stuff like that. Because they don't know what they're saying. That's the other thing. A lot of times,
Yeah, but they were old enough to know what that meant. 4-year-old, okay, pass.
Wait, they don't know what a Jedi is, but they know everything else. Like, come on, you're making arguments to make your point. Like, I feel like at this point you're just trying to hate it like everyone else.
No, I'm just going through all of the thought process that should have gone into this script when it was being written. How old is she? 8. Okay, would she say "I'd kill you," or would she be old enough to understand that and like maybe skirt around that? No, I don't know. I don't know. All right.
I do feel like there are things that still need to be explained, and if they don't explain them, that will hurt the show. But I do feel like we're going to revisit that show that night from a different point of view again, from May's point of view to see what really happened. And that's going to be the twist of the whole thing. What's Kassan say here? Are we certain that the Coven uses the dark side of the Force? We have no idea because the writers are keeping everything artificially obscure. Well, again, I think they do a good job in the episode because they're talking. They view the Force differently. They call it the thread. They don't call it the Force, just like the other Coven called it. I forget what the other Witches Coven called it, but they didn't call it the Force.
So if you pull the wrong side of the thread, you go to the dark side. Everything unravels.
What I'm saying is,
I don't think they view it like that.
Right. The Jedi view it as a light side and dark side. I don't think they view it as a light side, dark side. But
so then, why are you arguing that May is on is dark side?
Just because they don't view it that way doesn't mean it doesn't
adjacent whatever. Because she's saying, "I'll kill you."
I'm addressing Kassan's question. Kassan said, "Do they use the dark side?" I don't think they view it as a light side, dark side, but I do think a light side and dark side exist. I do think the Jedi's view is proper because they've done so many things in the Star Wars lore in the past to show there are two sides to the Force. There is a light side and there is a dark side. Like all 9 movies beat that into your head, but they don't think there's a light side and dark side. They just like you can do whatever you want, and they're not very powerful. Like Don pointed out, they can only do force pushes, right? Like they didn't do anything amazing so far. So right, like to sit there and say they know they're using the light side, dark side. They don't have those. They don't know everything. They only know enough to do what they're doing.
I kind of agree with Kassan though. The Coven is a coward's gambit. The writers want to introduce something fresh and new without committing to anything that pins down their intent. And I mean, I understand hiding things for narrative purposes, but yeah, everything here is purposefully too obscure. Normal humans wouldn't talk this way or not bring things up in the way they're not being brought up.
Why do people say normal humans? These aren't normal humans. We're not on Earth. These aren't human beings as we know them. We don't even know what they are. And there are a bunch of different aliens here.
So what you're saying is that they're writing this in such a way that there's no way normal people can relate to these characters, is what you're saying. Which would be a terrible thing for a writer to do.
I relate to these characters. I don't understand.
How do you relate to them if they're not human, Dave?
Oh my god.
Well, okay, so they're human, right? But no, seriously, John, like, do you know what happens to a human being if they're in space for like 2 years? We become blobs. Our bones become soft, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like, there's people in Star Wars that are in space for years. Again, because my theory, there's gravity in their space. So yeah, they're humans, but again, the physics are not the same.
Artificial gravity is a game changer for most of that. The only other problem we have is the lack of parasites.
Sure, but look
but-
at this universe. Artificial gravity is created by basically something spinning in space. Oh, look, we have gravity. There's nothing like that in Star Wars. They just push a button. Oh, we got gravity.
Right, which basically makes it moot the problem of the effects of of weightlessness on the human body and the physiological changes that happen because of that.
All right, let's put
so that's not really a concept in this.
Right. I mean, I get Don's point is like to try to make arguments about things being the same as they are here doesn't make sense because these people are in space all the time. But when you start getting into physics arguments with sci-fi, you're going to lose every time.
Every time. Yep.
I know, but there has to. It comes back down to something we've talked about many times on this podcast. You have to have rules, because if you don't have rules and you don't stick by them, then nothing matters, and the audience ain't gonna care.
Hello, Frosty.
And they're not sticking by the rules of the universe that we've been given over how many movies and how many TV shows, you know?
Can we okay. Let's take a second. I wanna point something out here. So social media madness.
I thought this was the madness part.
Like, so real quick, okay. The couple clips I pulled that we talked about. So first off, there's the clip of where I had said Star Wars is for kids. Don came back and agreed with me and said that was a great point. And what I was getting at is shoot, why is this going crazy on me? So over on TikTok, user blah 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 said this is the most accurate Star Wars take, and then Teo Lua said Star Wars is a kids thing. It goes after the kids. Now here
it goes after the kids.
Exactly, and then they continue on with this is why I disagree with the future gay agenda push of the Acolyte. And again, I didn't feel there was a push, but this is like we're getting into territory of like some of the dumb reasons people hate this show, right? Like,
I mean, I'll agree with you. Like, a lot of the pushback is about this gay agenda thing, and you're right. It really doesn't see. I mean, I can't really see it in this. You know, like the whole point was supposed to be that the Jedi were in decline, right, and that they were becoming monsters, and that this coven is fighting against them. But I don't even see that, you know, because what happens when the Jedi showed up? They were polite. They didn't draw their weapons. They asked nicely if they could test the kids.
Right.
And they said, if you won't let us test the kids, we'll go away. They were
on a
Jedi.
world that, but they're on a world that is not in the jurisdiction of the Republic.
True. Yes.
Right.
Which is why.
So
they
the
were
only
willing to go
reason
away.
the only reason they had any right to take their kids is because the Witch Coven knew if they didn't, the fucking Jedi would wipe them out. I'm telling you, the Jedi are not on these witches, and they're like waiting for them to cross the line before they just,
right. But how did I mean, another plot point from bad writing. How did the Jedi even know the girls existed? Because they've never been exposed anywhere except inside the coven.
And then
no, but these Jedi are not as clouded as the ones we know. They sense shit.
Right. That's true too.
That hasn't been like yeah, a good writer would have like already presented that evidence, you know, in a flashback or something or anything. But nothing is said.
I want to make the argument that if you were a fan and you've watched everything, watched the cartoons, watched all the movies, you know, read some of the stuff, I think Don's making a good point. Like
This
you
is good.
see this stuff.
Cops,
but here's the
Jedi
thing.
edition.
We got some witch we've got some witch covens here in purple robes doing some strange shit. We're gonna check this out.
That would, see, I would watch the hell out of that show.
The other thing was that somebody said this over on YouTube. When about the comments about us being talking about it being for kids, they said you're being ridiculous. And of course, I replied and said, "Thank you. We strive on being ridiculous." But like there are people who feel that way. Like when you point out that it's for kids, they get upset and they're like, "No, it's not for kids. You're being ridiculous." And it's like, no, it really was. It was always meant for kids. Like,
well, when the writing's on the level of a kid's show, yeah.
So, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's part of the problem. We'll get into this more, I think, because this is going long. But when
just one more point I have in my notes.
Okay,
the Jedi show up. Okay, take the kids and put them behind these people. Don't take the kids into one of the buildings. Take the kids and put them in one of these people so that the 7-foot Wookiee who can see over everybody's heads won't see them behind these few people here. I mean,
yeah, I will agree that was dumb, but it was done for the purpose of moving the plot forward, unfortunately, which happens a lot in TV shows.
I know. I miss the days when writers.
John, they never said they'd go away. They said they had the right to take the kids, period. Also, Don, you're assuming the Jedi would wipe them out. Why didn't they just wipe out the Coven first? That's my question. I already said that. Like, I don't think they're running from the Jedi. I think they're running from something else.
Yeah, well, I mean,
John
we'll
with the zingers.
All right. Zing. Yeah, no, you are right. I am assuming that he's not wrong. He's out of line.
We're assuming a lot of things. Like that's the whole thing is people are assuming stuff both ways in this show, and that's part of the problem. And here's the thing, and I've said this before: people are so used to like a 2-hour movie, and boom, they get the story. An hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours. And then when you do a show, and this was true. This was true with The Mandalorian as well. Is like people get bored because they're stretching things out, right? Like I saw an argument like, "Oh, why was this a whole episode when it could have been a 10-minute flashback?" Because it's a show and they're stretching it out. And like, is that a good thing? Not always, but I think they were establishing a lot of things about this coven and all the characters in this episode. Whether you like it or not, I think that's what they were doing. So,
yeah, no, they were, but that is actually one of the criticisms that I have that takes this particular episode down to a 6 out of 10 is that we do spend so much time with these younger versions of Osha and May. The child actors were not that great. I don't even understand why weren't they twins? Why did they use 2 child actors when they're supposed to be twins? Maybe that was to help us keep track of them. I don't know. But I did think we spent too much time with the kids, and they just weren't really spectacular actors.
And as you know, kids who grow up like that, who want to forget their past, will always keep the same hairstyles, even if it matches the twin that they thought was dead and they hated or whatever.
Listen, Kassan, you cannot compare a show with fucking dragons because, Star Wars is awesome, but it's not dragon awesome. So I don't know. That is a great show, and I will be watching it. So if you gentlemen did want to add that to the repertoire, I'm just saying. But actually, I think I got to sign up for Max tonight and watch it. But yeah.
All right, you know what? Let's put a pin in this for the moment. And if you guys would like to follow us on social media, learn more about some other great podcasts and so much more about Superhero Speak, let's take a quick break. And Don, you can tell us some more.
Enjoying the show? Do you want to be part of social media madness? Well, head on over to superheroespeak.com where you'll find links to all of our social media. You'll also find comic reviews by Chris, some old comic reviews by yours truly, the show itself, lots of good stuff that we're posting on there all the time. So make sure and check that out. And speaking of checking things out, of course, Superhero Speak is part of the Geek World All-Stars podcast network. Great shows like the Pop Prison Power podcast, Colt 45, Fans on Patrol, That's So Wizard, the Gorilla Brain podcast, and of course, Superhero Speak. Hashtag GW All-Stars, and you will not be disappointed. So make sure that you're going on the X app or whatever social media that you are enjoying. Watch for our post and make sure and interact with it. Have lots and lots of fun. All right. Well, I think I've wasted enough time. I think John has cleaned the whiskey off of his My Little Pony mouse pad. So let's head back to the show.
I had to switch it up this week.
Oh, sorry.
Don, I'm
Yeah,
just
no,
talking.
it's far.
Okay, go ahead, Don.
Well, I'm just saying, dude, I am not here to say this is great writing. I'm not, and I agree. The quality of the House of Dragon writing is far superior. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying about this show. It's the bottom tier of Star Wars shows for me. But is it worth everybody's vaginas being so hurt? No. Sorry, Joe. When I say those shit, it's for comedy. It's really not to dig at you, Joe.
Oh no. That I actually agree with you. You know, I think.
Wait, you're saying John has a vagina?
Stop. So
No.
like again, if you go on, and I watch a lot of YouTube, right? There are a lot of channels out there that are taking the straight misogynistic take on this, and it's hard. It's hard to wade through all of that to get to real reviews of it. Now, I won't say that the that take on it is without any merit, but a lot of what they're saying, like you said, really doesn't hold water.
You
You know?
I have seen people on the left complaining about it. I'm like, what is going on here?
Oh, John
All
surprises the hell out of me with that because I'm not right wing by any stretch of imagination, but I'm more right than John is, and I don't know. I don't care about.
Right.
Okay,
I don't care about it
have
either.
your lesbian show. Great, enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Make it
right?
good. Just
Right.
make it good. You know.
I think
Yes.
I do think one of the things that hurt the show before it even started, John said it last week, and he's 100% right. With the interviews where they were like all were pushing it. They've done this.
Yeah.
They did this with a couple different Marvel movies where they're like, "Oh, my character's like super gay," and there's nothing in the movie that indicates that they're gay.
Yeah,
Talk
they
about a
really
forced
need
error,
to shut the
right?
fuck up. Yeah,
Yeah. I mean,
that
the
was even
director,
Leslie
the
Headland
writer-
though. Oh, it's the
I know.
gayest ever. Just shut the fuck up.
I
Even
know,
if it is
right?
the gayest ever, just let it be the gayest ever. Just be quiet about it. Just hey,
mean, look
this
at-
is what I put together.
Yeah,
Enjoy it or not.
Star Wars La Caja Falls. I mean, whatever, you know.
But I'm sorry, Dave. We're this
Kinky
dead
Wars.
horse. We're down to the bones on this dead horse at this point, Dave. I'm sorry.
All right. Let's take a quick commercial break and do some news. Change the topic for a little bit. We'll be right back.
Some
Just for-
podcasts are like this.
What's the animal in this world that you fear the least? Fish. Animal. Fish. Don't start. Don't. You're starting, and I'm not.
A fish is an animal.
No, it's not. I'm talking about an animal, like a real animal, like
Fish. Fish.
No,
Fish
you're
is
being
animal.
hard-headed. I'm talking about that's like saying like an ant. That's not an animal. That's a sea creature.
What? It's a sea creature. A fish is an animal.
You can't go to the zoo and see a fish. They don't have zoo fishes.
There's actually so many fishes.
There's fish zoos. You
No.
can go to a fish zoo.
No,
Oh.
there's so many fish that they have their own f***ing attraction called an aquarium.
No, they don't. No, that's different. That's like sharks and shit. Those are animals.
Fish.
No,
Fish!
No, that's why they have different names. Sharks and fish. Why are you being political? I'm talking about an animal like a monkey, zebra, tiger, bear.
Okay.
And some podcasts are like this.
What's your take?
Since the fucking pandemic, everyone and their mother went on Amazon, got a microphone, got the whole kit set up, little filter, and now it's like they're important and we want to hear what they have to say about food, sports, culture. Who gives a
You don't like podcasts?
No, I think it's people jerking themselves off on the air to pretend they're doing something with their life.
If you already have a podcast, you can keep doing it, but it should be illegal to start a new podcast.
Get if you like doing like social justice or covering like current events, but just to talk about stupid sports, food, this and that is garbage, bro.
Wait, do you have a podcast?
Out of here, bro.
You're on a podcast right now.
I'm happy to participate in this one. Let you know how I feel about all these jamooks out here running around thinking there's somebody important. Like we want to listen to what they have to say.
What's a jamook?
Jamook, lame-brained. You know a jamook? A person of mental or physical incompetence due to their own lack of grace or social aptitude.
I like this definition. Jamook. Idiot, loser, lame-brained, a jamook.
Yeah.
But only one podcast is where you can get in-depth analysis like this.
They're breaking down the U.S. Phillips and the top brass are talking about what the fuck happened. And Phillips is like, look, bro, I wanted an army of you assholes, not just you. Go fuck out of here. I don't care. But the Senator Brandt, I was like, hold on, fam. I see opportunity.
Hey, we got a guy here. It's a super soldier.
I see a big, greasy, sweaty, swole, sexy man right here. We're going to slap you on some labels, bitch. About to walk this track for America.
Yeah. Shake your ass on the curb for America.
Bounce that ass for the U.S. of A.
Bounce that ass for the U.S.
I want dancing girls.
Dancing girls. And America's ass.
You are now listening to Cult 45.
This is Beat 'em Down.
And I'm Random Randy Savage.
Find us on all your podcatching apps like Podbean or Spotify. And follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or just go to www.cult45podcast.com.
Also, check out our YouTube for that sweet, sweet video content.
Cult 45, the only podcast that puts hair on your chest.
And another thing.
I forgot to say at this point in the podcast, if you're watching and you're not yet subscribed, please click the subscribe button, click that bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live on Sunday nights and all of our other great content we're putting up during the week. Smash that like button because it really does help with the algorithm and gets us out there. And if you feel up to it, click that join button. Become a member. There's some great perks of being a member, so do that. I gotta find a GIF to add in that has the little join button being clicked. But yeah. All right. The news. What did Thrawn say here?
I mean, there's something other than Acolyte stuff. I mean,
we need a shirt that says "I'm a Jamook for Star Wars." All right. All right. I'll be on it this week. A Jamook for Star Wars. So this first article, Don actually brought to my attention earlier this week. Russell Crowe recently said that actors shouldn't expect comic book movies to be life-changing. And
I'm sorry.
I both agree and disagree with the comment that he made. I'll let you guys weigh in, but first off, I'd like to say Russell Crowe was already really well established before he did any superhero movies. Before he was Jor-El, before he was Zeus, like he was Gladiator. He was in a lot of different things. Like people knew Russell Crowe. So it didn't change his life. He was already a big star. But Hugh Jackman, no one knew who Hugh Jackman was before he was Wolverine. No one knew who Thor. Why can't I think of his name? Chris Hemsworth was before he was Thor. So that was life-changing for those actors, But I also agree with you shouldn't take the role thinking for the fact that you think this is going to make you a huge star. You should take the role because you want to be an actor and you want to be in this movie. So
yeah, well, it also like life-changing in a way. I would say for who? For the people watching, because like the whole point of a superhero movie is to inspire people to be better than they are, to try to be something greater. And in that way, the whole point of these shows is to like change lives for the better. You know, make money,
okay,
but
okay, Thrawn.
Yeah, but in the article, he's more talking about like it's just a job, right? Like I know Dave has cited Hugh Jackman. I'll also cite Tom Holland. I didn't know who the fuck Chris Evans was. Like, but they're the exception, not the rule. I think is kind of what he's getting at. I don't think that every actor that's cast in a Marvel or DC movie is going to have this, 20 film franchise, that establishes them all the time. That's why I'm actually a recast person. Again, for budgetary reasons, and also the fact that Black Panther should not be dead in the MCU. I'm sorry, Black Panther is an important character, and I love Chadwick Boseman. The story of him going, doing this acting even while he's suffering through life-ending cancer. Like I'm not throwing shade on that whatsoever, but you can't just take Black Panther out of your MCU because he died. I didn't feel that way at first, but I do now. I guess time heals all.
I agree, Kassan. Add Charlie Cox to the list. He said, "Yeah."
Say, I don't know who that is.
I would say if you get hired by DC, don't expect it to be life changing.
But
most likely, you won't be playing that character for very long anyway.
I do feel like what he's getting at is there are actors who are jumping at the chance, or at least there were jumping at the chance to be in superhero movies, thinking
that's the wrong reason, though, right?
Right, exactly. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, Thrawn said, letting you know it's Daredevil there, Don. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's interesting. That's an interesting choice, though, Kassan, because like the Netflix shows were big, but at the same time, in the sense of to Marvel fans, but they weren't like life-changing like being in the movies. But now that they're bringing Daredevil into the MCU proper, he's been in No Way Home and She-Hulk. It's become right. Yeah, but before that, I don't think Charlie Cox would have said it was life-changing. I mean, obviously he enjoyed the role; he came back to do it. But yeah,
I mean, it's life-changing in the fact that you can be booked at Comic-Cons for the rest of your life.
Yeah, I don't think Russell Crowe has done a Comic-Con. That's the other thing. Maybe Russell Crowe needs to do a Comic-Con so he can understand what life-changing really is. Like, get to a lot of new smells. That's life-changing. Questions over and over and over again. That's life-changing. Yeah, I think you're onto something there.
Getting the con crud, that'll change his life a little bit.
Oh yeah,
days.
That's a rite of passage.
I started. That's you know what? Now that we've talked about this, it'll be the next one. In my rant this week, I started a thing where I'm telling stories from Comic-Con. And I did the first one I did was when I met Jarrett Crippen, who's better known as the Diffuser. For those who watched Who Wants to Be a Superhero, that short-lived show that Stan Lee did. There were 2 seasons of it. He won the 2nd season. But that reminds me of when I first worked for a celebrity at a convention. And it was Mike Hogan from Battlestar Galactica who played Colonel Ty. And then the amount of fans that asked him the same questions over and over again. And him, every time that asked it, didn't go, was enthusiastic and gave a really good answer. Sometimes it was slightly different, but it was the same answer. And he had energy and he was telling a story and whatever. And I said, Mike, how do you, because he told me to call him Mike. He said, how do you do this? Being asked those over. And he's like, because I understand that these fans have been waiting in line all day to see me and they're going to get 5 minutes at most with me. And I got to make the most out of that moment for them. Would Russell Crowe be able to do that? I don't know. See, life-changing. Russell, do a Comic-Con.
I know McFarlane wouldn't, because I've been at a convention with him, and he didn't care how many people were still in line. He was like, "Oh, 4 o'clock, gotta go."
Yeah. The show's popularity on Netflix put pressure on Disney to buying him back in the MCU. Same with John Bernthal. Yeah, yes, Kazan. He's
I
talking
just
about
think we want to see Daredevil fight in not a hallway. Is really what he hasn't got that chance. He's always fighting in hallways on that Netflix show. As much as I don't know the actor's name, I did watch it. Believe it or not, that's just how much I don't care.
Crow would have to do it and come out and ask, "Are you not entertained?"
That'd be funny as shit.
Thank you, Thron.
He should have been Ragnarok.
Yeah, he should have done that. Would have worked too.
Yeah.
If Zeus came out and said, "Are you not entertained?" Oh, people would have loved that.
Yeah.
Missed opportunity. Missed opportunity.
Dave, can I interject?
He could have at least done it after he made Thor naked. That'd been funny.
Oh, now that would have been perfect.
That's you want to interject something?
Definitely.
Go ahead, John.
Oh no, it about something else. If it's okay, sir.
Yeah, I think. Yeah, we beat this already to death.
Okay, this isn't really news. This is something that I've caught up with. My adventures with Superman, and
I have not watched the new season yet. I'm sorry.
They're up to episode 4. They seem to have taken a page out of X-Men 97 in that the plot points are just flying by, like one right after the other. But it's being done really, really, really well. I am loving.
They introduced a young Lex Luthor in this, right? This season,
and Kara Zor-El now too.
Oh, okay.
So, and therein lies a interesting plot twist. So I would heartily recommend for people to watch it. All right,
I will get caught up this week after I'm done watching my new favorite show, The Acolyte. It's like a bad car wreck. You got to keep watching.
That I agree with you, except for the last part.
All right, let's move across the aisle. DC is introducing a Blue Beetle animated series that will tie into the DCU because
wasn't that called Young Justice?
Which DCU, the dead one or the
new one?
Good point.
The DCEU is the dead one. James Gunn did say that Blue Beetle is officially the first movie of the DCU. Did you see Blue Beetle, Don?
No.
Oh, you should watch it. It's actually good. Like, it's sad that it didn't do well because it is a really well done movie.
I was about to watch it, and then I don't know, just my muscle memory or whatever, or subconscious quickly made me go watch The Guyver. I don't know.
Real quick, Kassan said, "Yeah, I'm surprised you guys aren't covering My Adventures with Superman. It's way better than The Acolyte." Yes, but all the hate on Star Wars gets us more clicks with The Acolyte.
Exactly.
Apparently, yeah. But we will. We should cover it next week because it'll be 5.
That would be funny.
In from 8.
What service is it on?
Oh, it's on Max.
Yeah,
where all the DC stuff.
You can also watch Blue Beetle on Max as well.
Yeah, well, I got to get that for House of the Dragon, but that will be funny if we do that because you'll probably get the opposite. Like with the Acolyte, I'm all defending it and shit, and I love it. With Superman, like I might. I've never watched a Superman TV show that I liked.
We watched
the actual,
we watched season 1 last year or the year before?
Yeah, last year. It was
last year. Yeah, because we were doing the video. Yeah, we were doing video at that point, so it was last year, and it's a different take a little bit on Superman, and it's actually really good. I will say that.
Yeah, I know. I've got a weird fandom with Superman because, to be very honest, Superman is what I hope for in a superhero, right? Someone so fucking powerful that they could really wake up one day and say, "I'm fucking done. This is what I'm going to do." That's why I like Peace on Earth, where he's just like, I woke up. No one's going to fucking starve today, and nobody's going to stop me from doing this. I love that. That's what I would want a real superhero to do.
Is that how you feel sometimes when you wake up, Don?
Yes.
Okay.
Every day. But that in itself, he's just too powerful to be interesting to me. I guess he's
Well,
had
it
so many
depends on-
powers over the years.
It's really hard to write for him. And
Yeah.
I'll tell you something, Bruce Timm, his team, when they did the New Adventures of Superman, like they did the New Adventures of Batman, amazing.
Yeah.
They did it right. They were able to write around that by writing interesting, interesting shows and plots and stories. It was good. I don't know. Maybe I can share my Max subscription with you, Don. I'll see what.
Oh
I can
no,
do
no.
with that.
We got because isn't there a bundle with Disney Plus? Because I've already got the Disney Hulu
Yes,
bundle.
yes.
Like,
There's a
Oh,
new
true,
bundle
that's
with
right.
Disney Plus.
Yeah, and Comcast
You
is
need
doing
to
a
get
bundle too with 3 others. We're gonna have to talk about streaming again at some point because it's getting interesting.
So, it's funny you mentioned Bruce Timm, and I forgot to include this article, and it kind of goes in with DC stuff, so it works. The new Batman animated series, the Cape Crusader, it came out in an interview a couple weeks ago. This movie, this show is actually going to take place in the 40s. It's an early, like it's based on the early Batman from the original comics.
Which one?
Like the one that had a gun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
the
think.
one- yeah,
Well, I
the
don't
one
think he's
that-
got. I don't think he's got a gun in this, but yeah, like the
Okay.
new one that's coming out. It's coming out soon on Max. It's called the Cape Crusader or the something like that. The Adventures of the Cape Crusader or something like that. It's
Huh.
the new Bruce Timm Batman cartoon.
So
that's coming out.
so it'll be between Gotham by Gaslight and the New Adventures.
Well,
of Batman.
he said that because in the original Batman the Animated Series, they were trying to stylize it, and
Very
you had hot
stylized.
air balloons, but you also
Yeah.
had computers. He's
Yeah,
like,
they-
there's no
they had
computers,
dirigibles,
there's no
right?
cell phones, none of that. This is just pure Batman being Batman. Which
So
I thought that was a
Sherlock
cool take.
Batman, basically. It's
Yeah, but
literally
even like all
Sherlock
the
Batman.
the designs are based on the original designs of the characters. Like Catwoman's in her original purple costume and things like that. So I think this will be interesting, you know.
Yeah, Batman makes the most sense pre-cell phones and pre-internet. You know, you
Yeah.
got the bat signal and
Yes,
shit.
you can get away
like,
with it
you know.
more. Yeah.
So is Batman going to hold a gun sideways and go all gangsta on the bat?
Uh,
On the
Oh
gangsters?
my god. This is from like our number one Batman the Animated Series fan making
I am the night,
comments about
see?
going gangsta.
I am the darkness, see?
But I am.
Old
Batman
school
saying.
gangsta.
You haven't talked like what is it? What's the Spider-Man that's done by the black and white Spider-Man?
Noir.
Noir,
Nick Cage.
Noir
Yes.
Spider-Man. Yes, so Noir
So-
Batman.
So real quick, back to the Blue Beetle. They're saying it's going to tie into the DCU, this animated series. Obviously, they just announced it. They're not working on it yet, so it'll be a while before it's out. I'm kind of curious if this is going to be a situation where you've got to watch this cartoon to fill in missing things from some of the movies. You know,
Uh-huh.
like the same mistake Marvel made.
I don't know that they're
Yeah.
going to make that. I think they're going to. I mean, was it the guy who's in charge now? Jeff
James
Who's-
Gunn.
James Gunn.
James Gunn and the other guy.
Right. James, I
Yeah,
think
the
they're
other
going
guy.
to learn from the mistakes that Marvel has made over the last 5 years. I think.
Hopefully.
I hope.
Yeah. I'm hoping to. So
Uh,
we'll see. I don't know. I liked the Blue Beetle. It was a good movie. I'm hoping they repeat some of that stuff in this show. Though it also makes me wonder, does that mean Blue Beetle's not going to get a sequel? You know?
Yeah.
I really want Don to watch it. I want to get his opinion because
I will try. Yeah, I will try to watch it. I'll renew the Max sub because again, we're gonna watch House of Dragon. I work from home. I'm an analyst. I can have one eye on that spreadsheet and one eye over here. So,
Kind of how I work too. Yeah.
yeah. And I'm
Um,
just curious because like we all liked it, but yet it didn't do well in the box office, you know. So
because I don't think the general public gives a shit about Blue Beetle.
yes,
Be-
and I do think that's the problem. Yeah, you make a great movie and like, but I don't know who he is, so I don't care.
It's
So-
another one like the Marvels. The Marvels wasn't as bad as everybody said. In fact, it gave Carol Danvers a much better personality and actually a script to work with. But
Yes.
the damage has been done so
Done,
bad
yeah.
for the last few shows, that the last few movies, that they killed their own box office. I got another one to interject, Dave, if you want, if it's okay. It's quick.
Sure, go for it.
Michaela Hoover
I like
and Christopher
quickies.
Michaela Hoover and Christopher McDonald has joined Superman. Michaela Hoover is kind of a crush of mine. She's been in a couple of the Marvel movies. You've always seen her in the background.
Okay.
But like, she's joining as Cat Grant, so this should be interesting. And
Really?
Christopher McDonald is joining as Ron Troop. Yeah, Michaela Hoover is what?
If they're bringing Cat Grant in, does that mean we're having Supergirl in the Superman movie?
I have no idea. I mean, they could be setting it up. I mean, Lois Lane is Rachel Brosnahan and so forth. But yeah, no, Michaela Hoover is like she's gorgeous. I normally don't comment on somebody's looks just because, but she's one person.
They're going to do something weird where she's got a relationship with Lex or something.
She didn't she? Cat Grant did have so did Lois at one point. I mean,
Yeah.
So, we'll see. But it's interesting that they're adding Cat Grant and Ron Troop. So there you go.
Yeah. I mean, that's my fear, is James Gunn is trying to build a bigger universe, like from the scratch, instead of like saying, let's make one good single Superman movie. Let's make one good single Batman movie and then figure out how to bring them together. It's like, no, let's build a universe, which was the mistake with Batman v Superman,
Well, in this case, James Gunn is pulling a Sam Raimi because Michaela Hoover was in Guardians of the Galaxy 1 and 3, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And she worked with James Gunn, so
he is known for being loyal to the people he's worked with, and I don't fault that at all. I love that about him. But like, if you're trying to build too big of a universe on one movie, people are gonna be like, what the hell's going on? And it's gonna hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Thorne says this Hawkgirl and Hawkman we're getting in this. That's what I heard, that they're gonna be in it.
It should be interesting.
Travis Mitchell.
That's a lot to pump into the first two movies, or first movie, right? Yeah, the first movie. That's going to be a lot to pump into the first movie.
It's going great, Travis. I'm on my third rum and coke, and we're not talking Star Wars at the moment, but we're going to get back to it in a second. And one of us is not going to make it alive out of this podcast.
And then he'll be sad. Yes. Okay, so
Blade loses another director. What the hell
this is cursed, man.
This is a dumpster fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever the fuck they're trying to do with this movie.
We just said last week or 2 weeks ago, Blade's got a new director, and they're getting a new script written, and it's going great.
Not happening.
Everything's going to be wonderful. And then, nope. No, the director said, nope, I'm out. What the hell is going on?
Do you really think that they're trying to womanize the Blade movies? Like that's the overarching rumor.
I haven't heard that, but I mean, that's interesting that's making the rounds. But the problem is, like, it shows you how many problems, it shows you how many issues and problems that they are having behind the scenes at Marvel. How hard is it to find a script? Like, there should be scripts. They just pick a fanfic, for hell's sake. There's fanfics out there that are better than the things that they're hiring writers to write. And the fact that they keep losing directors, what the hell is going on behind the scenes at Marvel? That this is floundering. That Blade is floundering this hard. I mean,
it shouldn't be hard to do. Like, again,
bring Wesley Snipes back.
Follow the formula from the Wesley Snipes movies. Even if you don't bring Wesley back, the first movie works. Like, follow that formula, update it a little bit for today's audience, and you got a hit. That's it. That's all you've got to do.
Bring him on as old man. Was it old man Blade? Right?
Whistler. He could be the new Whistler. I wouldn't
Well,
care.
no, bring him as he's been, as his movies are actually canon, and he's been in this universe the whole time. Whatever. But I mean, this doesn't bode well. This is kind of sad, really. I mean, the amount of success they have had over the last decade and a half, and they are flaming out hard now.
And it's an easy concept.
It should be.
Fucking
So
Vampire Slayer.
Travis just came in and he's like, not the case, but I could see
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah. Playing a fair Blade's mentor, a flashback sequence with is it Bradley as Pap in World War II, netting the hunting vampires could be cool. Like,
see,
there you go.
Even the people that watch our podcast can come over to
I won't call you a fan yet, Travis. I don't know, but if somebody coming in on this show right away said, "Here's an idea for the movie,"
and a good idea,
done, and a good idea at that. Like, come on, Marvel, what are you doing? Hassan says they did try, then they rewrote the script. Mashali felt that it was being sidelined. Yes, that's what I keep hearing. The script wanted to focus on Blade's daughter. I think they'll lose Ali, and I think you're right. Like here's the thing: you want to bring in his daughter, you want to expand the universe out right away. Stupid idea, but if you want to do that, but the first movie should be Blade. It should concentrate on him. Introduce the daughter at the end of the movie, and then you can do something.
Or introduce her into the second movie and let her go on and play with the Young Avengers or something while you're still making other Blade movies. Because the whole point is you need to make a Blade movie. Make a Blade movie or two at least. Criminy.
Yeah. I don't. It's not hard to do. People love this franchise, and you're making it more difficult than you need to.
Yeah. I mean, who made the rule that they needed to have it focus on his daughter? I mean, what the hell, guys?
I mean, they kind of tried that shit already with Blade Trinity.
With what?
With Blade Trinity, except it was Whistler's daughter at the time. They tried to pass the baton, and it was shit.
Yeah, but
it's the same people who want to make the gayest Star Wars ever.
Oh, for crap's sake! Yeah, I wouldn't put. See, I'm thinking that there's two teams that are both screwing up at the same time, the Star Wars side and the Marvel side. But now, maybe you're right. Maybe there's some bleed over there. I don't know. Anyway, all right.
Last article, real quick. Last article, and this was just I included this for fun. It's something we joked about when Disney bought Marvel. Like, when are we going to have Mickey Mouse or a character show up in Marvel Comics and vice versa? And we're getting our first taste of this. There is a what if coming out where Donald Duck gets the powers of Thor. Look, I bring this up because it's it's a fun idea. It's a what if. No one cares. But let's be honest. If it sells well and people love it, there's a chance Donald Duck gets introduced into the MCU.
That would be bad because then you could have a death battle between Donald Duck and Howard
the Duck. Yeah, having the same thing. That's exactly what I was thinking. That's funny because this is 50-50 on because they actually had an Uncle Scrooge McDuck comic too. DuckTales is actually still pretty popular. But anyway, this is either not going to sell any comics or it's going to sell a metric shit ton.
I think it's going to sell a lot.
This is IDW, right? Is it IDW?
No, it's Marvel. It's Marvel. It's What If. It's the official What If comic. Yeah.
Okay.
This is why would IDW be publishing a comic?
Well, because
with Marvel and a Disney character.
IDW does a lot of crossover comics, and they're very, very popular.
But why are they using the same Duck though? There's also another What If story based around Donald Duck becoming Wolverine, releasing in July 2024.
Oh, this is a Disney thing. This is being pushed on them. I'll bet you.
Now let's be honest. It's also Disney's 100th anniversary this year, and I
Yeah,
know
which they celebrated with Wish, which kind of ended the celebration right off the bat.
I didn't see it, but I heard it was
Wish
terrible.
Wish is a movie that you would get if you ordered it off of Wish.
When you order your Disney movie from Wish, you get Wish.
You get Wish, yes.
Yeah, I don't know. Like it's a fun little. I think it's going to sell a lot. You know, especially the first one because you're going to have all the Disney files run out and buy it, and maybe it's going to turn off some diehard Marvel fans. But there are fans like me that are like, "Oh, this is a funny thing. I'll buy it." You know, but if it sells a metric ton of books, they're gonna go, oh, there's something here, and we're gonna get Duck Thor.
We already
Well,
have
naturally, because they want to make money.
Marvel Universe prop. Yeah,
we already have Throg though. Who needs Dog? I don't know.
Spider Ham and
Dog. Oh my God, Door.
I would. You know what? I would rather see Daffy Duck.
Thuck. Oh my God, it's Thuck.
Oh my God. I would rather see.
I don't
Daffy
give
Duck
a
get Thor's
fuck.
power. Can you imagine if Daffy Duck got Thor's powers? Now that would be interesting.
No. It's
Anyway.
Loki season. It's Thor season. It's Loki season.
Yes,
it's Thor
exactly.
season.
Yeah.
You better shut the fuck
Son
up.
says Daffy Thor.
God.
Daffy Thor.
All right.
According to the Guardians holiday special, the Transformers are fictional, but their knockoff GoBots are actual beings that exist. This is true.
Yeah,
Travis
that is funny. Yeah, that is funny because like the GoBots designs are actually rather practical compared to the Transformers.
Yeah.
So like I could see GoBots, being more real than Transformers.
So we won't get a Transformers crossover into Marvel, but we could get a GoBots.
I'd love to see Leader One or Psykill just show up, even
Oh,
if
Mater
it's in the
Thanos.
background. Yeah, I mean, I'm always a Transformers fan because it has the much deeper lore and more
it's
interesting
superior.
Oh my God, this is gonna be crazy. Yeah, we're gonna get Mater Thor. I think, or Thanos. I think we are. We're gonna get a whole that's what's gonna happen if this book sells well. We're gonna get a whole series of Disney books that are Marvel stories, but told with Disney characters. That's gonna be step one. Because that is par for course for Disney.
I know.
What was that?
Go ahead, Dan.
Kingdom Hearts is a thing. People love
Yeah.
that shit.
True. I'm just hoping that this isn't Disney interfering with Marvel by saying, "Hey, we need to, we're doing our 100-year anniversary. We want to up the societal IQ of our characters. So you're going to do some crossovers with us now."
So doing this podcast and working at a lot of conventions, I know a lot of people who work for Marvel, and I'll never forget when Disney bought them. I remember going and talking to people, and they're like, "No, it's great. They're not really doing anything. They're letting us do our own thing." I think we're past that point now. I think Disney's like, "Nope, we own you. We want to cash in on what you've got. And tie our stuff together."
Anytime any company has ever bought another company and say we won't interfere with them, that is the end date for that is usually 1 year after the purchase. And then
it's been way more than a year.
And then then the interference starts. I've seen it. I've seen it in companies that I've worked for. So,
oh my God.
Okay, so that would be interesting. All of these are more interesting than what Marvel's coming up with. What the hell's wrong with Marvel? They have billions of dollars, and people who watch our show can come up with better fan fiction in seconds. I don't know. All right, so
can you imagine Star Wars characters showing up in the MCU? I can with Dread, says Kassan.
Hasn't that already happened before?
No, but See, that's also the other.
Oh, we've had Star Trek. Star Trek has shown up in.
Yes.
Yeah, Star Trek has shown up with the X-Men actually.
Mhm.
All right. That is all the news.
It's actually
we've
not
got
that
this
bad
week.
of a comic.
No, it wasn't actually.
Let's take a
Yeah.
quick commercial break and ponder a question that the universe has been pondering for a while. We'll be right back.
No.
This is so wizarding.
Broadcasting very fast and very dangerous from the planet Malistair. You are listening to So Wizard.
You're thinking, people gonna die?
The only podcast to make the Kessel run in under 12 parsecs.
No one to stop us this time.
I am your host, Joey DiCarlo, and with me, my co-hosts, the queen of all nerds, Aubrey Litchfield, and the expert, Mr. Marquis, Marcellus Reagan. You are listening to So Wizard Podcast, where three friends review movies, TV, and sometimes more, podcasting weekly on the Geek World All-Stars Podcast Network. Marcellus Reagan's, please tell the listeners where they can find more So Wizard Podcasts.
Everybody, you can head on over to SoulWizardPodcast.com, and there you're going to find a brand new episode every week. Find Soul Wizard on all podcasting streaming platforms such as iTunes, Spotify, Good Pods, and pretty much wherever you can find a podcast. Check out our YouTube page, where new content is being uploaded regularly. We also have a Patreon page. For as little as $1 a month, you can receive exclusive bonus content while you're supporting the show.
No, I didn't. First of all, a podcast takes a lot of work, okay? You have to organize the guests, you have to do a Google Calendar, and then you build a following. It takes a long time, and I've been working on it for a while.
Okay, wait a minute. There's a trilogy of Spider-Man. This is from Travis. There's a trilogy of Spider-Man novels which canonize the events of Die Hard, Unbreakable, and Scooby-Doo in the Marvel universe. Not even joking. That's funny because Scooby-Doo is officially part of the DC universe because Warner Brothers owns Scooby-Doo, and they have been crossover books with Batman. That's interesting.
And ever since Glass, nobody cares about Unbreakable. So,
Thrawn says Star Wars in the MCU is how Lando got hot chocolate in The Heir to the Empire.
What's funny is the DC comics universe itself is canonized in the Marvel comics.
Yeah,
directly
there's
referred
just another
to.
set of multiverses, right?
Yep.
Last time I saw it was in a Thor. I say recent, a couple years ago at this point, but yeah.
All right. I have a question for you guys.
Uh-oh.
No, I want to be serious about this topic for a second.
Uh-huh.
And I know we're beating a dead horse at this point. We've got a skeleton and flies.
You ever say it's a
around.
decomposed horse?
But okay, The Force Awakens came out and people loved
Love
it.
that fucking game. Sorry, wrong game. I thought I heard Force Unleashed, but
And people really like. Overall, people loved The Force Awakens. Yeah, it was a copy of the original Star Wars in a lot of ways, but it worked. I mean, the worst thing is they killed off Han Solo in the movie, but that's what Harrison Ford wanted. You know,
and don't forget the controversy about Rey just being an expert at everything right off the bat.
I let that go.
yeah, that makes way more sense now that the trilogy's over. But yeah,
then we got The Last Jedi, which turned Luke Skywalker into a jerk, and even Mark Hamill has come out and said he hated the movie, he hated the script.
Thank God.
I don't know why he like the thing that pisses me off but he still agreed to do it in the end, right? Which destroyed Star Wars for a lot of people. And then we got somehow Palpatine returned in not Revenge of the Sith. I'm sorry, The Rise of Skywalker, which is also the dumbest title of any Star Wars movie. And a lot of people were kind of fed up with Star Wars at that point. But then we got The Mandalorian, right? And correct me if I'm wrong, but everyone loved The Mandalorian, right? Because this felt like the Star Wars we knew and loved.
I don't know if Mandalorian felt to me the Star Wars that I always knew and loved. I just appreciated I guess just the grittier side of the Star Wars scene that we never seen before. And I think that's what most people gravitated toward. Oh, and Baby Yoda. That too.
How Baby Yoda is synchrosynced. You cannot make any comments about
it. He's so sacred that even when they give him a name, you cannot speak it. He is still Baby Yoda.
Excuse me, I'm going to take a sippy sip from my cuppy cup.
Yeah.
Meme. No, yeah. The meme.
Then you has cookie.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, John. I interrupted you. Can go ahead.
Even if he murders amphibian children, we all love Baby Yoda. But
I don't even remember his actual name.
You're right. You're right.
Grogu.
He was an endangered species too.
Yeah.
Like,
but yeah. Although Mandalorian
in Texas, he could go to jail.
Wait, hold on. And here's the thing I love about the Mandalorian. Favreau and Filoni, it was like we got The Last Jedi, which destroyed the image of Skywalker and Luke in everyone's mind, or they tried to. And then in season 2 of The Mandalorian, they gave us the triumphant return of Luke, where he's going and he's slaying robots. It's like that's the Luke Skywalker we wanted. That was Filoni and Favreau's giving a fuck you to
Kathleen Kennedy, basically.
Well, not just Kennedy, but who's the guy who directed
which movie? Nobody remembers because it was so bad.
Rian Johnson.
Rian Johnson. Fuck you to Rian Johnson. It's like, here's how Luke should have come back, right? And then
Luke should have been the cavalry. He should have been the fucking cavalry.
We got Boba Fett, which was It was really they made it Mandalorian 2.5 to like save the show.
Well, because the Mandalorian should have been Boba Fett. That I guess that's my one complaint about the Mandalorian is that they really undercut Boba Fett when they did that shit.
And then we got Andor, and it's funny because Kassan is mentioning Andor here. Andor is the only fresh take on Star Wars with competent writing and explores something that doesn't include Jedi and writing Chef's Kiss.
Yes,
John, you've explained exactly why I don't fucking watch Andor. I had no interest in watching it. Everyone I know that I trust their opinion has said it is boring as hell. And I love Jedi. I love Star Wars. So I skipped right over it. I didn't know,
but
Andor is fucking awesome.
Yes.
You're right. It's not Jedi. None of that shit. But it tells a very, very interesting story. And there's a character that is now one of my favorite characters from that. His name is Luthen. And he's a fucking badass. But he takes you through what it takes to be a part of the rebellion, to get the rebellion going. I love Andor. You're right, though. It's not flipping Jedi and Force and shit. But it's an awesome story.
But it was a good story too. I mean,
you felt shit though. You felt like when that lady died, and then they played her holo projector recording at her funeral, and she's like, "You got to fucking fight this empire." Like you felt that. And I'm only paraphrasing. Like watch that speech, and then watch the speech when the guy asked Luthen, because this guy, this informant, this insider of the empire, he's like, "Well, I don't want to do this anymore." And Luthen's like, "No, you're going to fucking do this." And he's like, "Well, why? What have you sacrificed, Luthen?" And then that whole speech, oh my God. Andor is fucking awesome.
Maybe I'll give it a try. Travis said, I feel Book of Boba Fett should have ended with Luke joining Grogu on Tatooine. And it's his home, and he can't make Grogu choose. In the death of his friends with the death of his friends on his mind. I don't disagree with that. He did they did try to do that, have Grogu make a choice, and Grogu did choose to go back with Mando. So,
now.
for now, right?
We
I mean,
will
I don't think
we will see our first Mandalorian Jedi, and it will be Grogu in a while. I'll say not the first, but after thousands of years, we will see Grogu be a Mandalorian Jedi. It's gonna be fucking awesome. You heard it here
All right.
first. Superhero speak.
And then we got Ahsoka. Some people had an issue with Ahsoka. I liked it. I think it raised some new interesting ideas. It did tie deeply into the Clone Wars and those shows, Rebels and whatnot. And
yeah,
I liked it. I understand some people didn't like it because they didn't watch the cartoons, so they were lost in it in some ways. Like, who's Ahsoka? How does she tie into all this? I thought they
why
felt
is
like,
Ezra important? Who are these space
right.
whales? Who
Who's
gives a
this
fuck
Ezra
about
character?
Thrawn? Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
like
really
Ahsoka a lot.
it's really a Rebels season 5 or 6 or whatever it is.
Right. It is. But like honestly, my critique of that series is that Ahsoka is not the most interesting thing in that show. Although I like her. The Balin Skull character, which was played by the late Ray Stevens, he's the breakout fucking character from that show. That shit is cool because he's not Sith, he's not Jedi, and he's got this cool, like, he wields it like a broadsword lightsaber. It's fucking great.
And
he was the most interesting about that.
And I don't think they wrote Ahsoka very well because Ahsoka is a lot more lively. The thing that
they
we liked
don't.
about
She's
her character,
stiff.
See,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
here I
They
go.
could have
Here
done a
I
little
go
better,
being a
but
Star
still
Wars.
a good show.
Here I go being a Star Wars defender
I
again.
love
Or defender.
Ahsoka.
I feel like Ahsoka is at the point where she's blocking out her emotions because her emotions got into so much trouble in Rebels, and
That's not Ahsoka though.
right, but no, she's now gotten to the point where she's trying to control her emotions because of all the trouble that's caused her in the past, and that's why she's very stoic in this in the show.
But
And
she's not a Jedi though. That's the whole point. She was never going to be a Jedi. She's like a gray Jedi.
But
now.
again, it still caused her problems. She's trying to correct the behavior that she thought caused her problems. Like to me, it makes sense in that way. Yeah, it's never explained, but I don't feel like it needs to be explained. Like, she's being stoic because she has to now. She's an adult, and she's gotten into a lot of trouble relying on her
gone through a
emotions in the
lot of
past.
shit.
Yeah,
she's been on the battlefield since she was.
And they even show that with the flashbacks with Anakin, which that's another reason I like the show. I like that they gave Hayden Christensen an opportunity to come back and reprise the role and kind of like fix some of the things that people didn't like about Anakin. And then, of course, I kind of skipped over, but it's also important, and it's another aspect of him coming back and doing an amazing job, was Obi-Wan. Like, again, people had issues with Obi-Wan. Did it need to be told? It was an odd story. Like, you kind of want to see what happens with young Luke, but it goes with young Leia, a story we never knew even existed. But we get these two awesome confrontations between Obi-Wan and Darth Vader, which in my opinion, saved that show. Like, Obi-Wan blocked off from the Force, fighting him the first time, and then the fight at the end, which is what the whole thing built up. The whole show was a build up to the lightsaber duel at the end, that intense lightsaber fight.
And the fact that you could see Anakin inside the mask, and when he fucking tells Obi-Wan, like, you didn't fail me, Obi-Wan. You didn't kill me. I killed Anakin. Like, I was like, oh fuck, that's so good. Holy shit.
Which makes it really nice for the canon of Obi-Wan in the first movie saying, no, Darth Vader killed your father. Well, now, yeah.
Does.
Yeah.
Yes. but it's such
light
an
years
awesome...
above, light years writing above, our current show.
Yes.
I will agree. But,
Right. But and I bring all this up because the shows saved a lot of people's opinions of Star Wars after we got, especially Rise of Skywalker. A lot of people came back. It's like, oh wow, these shows are good. I love these long stories. This is working out. And now we get The Acolyte, which is divorced from a lot of the stuff. Like, and let's be honest,
that's
a lot
such
of
a good
those,
point.
a lot of the other shows are revolved around the Skywalker saga. They're still attached to it in some way. Even Andor,
Annoyingly
because we
so.
know that it's attached to Rogue One, which is part of the Star Wars saga, the Skywalker saga. Now we get the Acolyte, which they're saying isn't tied at all. I think by the end it's going to be in a little bit. And everyone's hating on it, but the thing that I keep seeing over and over again, and it's the theme of this week, is that Star Wars is dead. Is Star Wars dead on one show that people don't like?
Well, it's not just that. It's a cavalcade of failure that has, ultimately ended up with this show. And the only it's
what
was
the other
it's
failures?
turning people off to it, right? Why keep watching the thing that's abusing you? Look at Marvel. They're having the same problem. They
But you're sitting there saying a cavalcade of failure. What was the cavalcade? What was we just went through all of the shows.
The last 3 movies. Like, and I'm coming from a side where I think Solo wasn't as bad as people said. I like Solo, but the last 3 movies and somehow Palpatine returned, and then this.
Look,
and the
I
Book
don't
of Boba
think
Fett, and
I don't think The Force Awakens is a bad movie. I think The Force Awakens is a decent movie. I think if you take away Luke being turned into a jerk,
yeah, but you can't unsee that.
And it wasn't even. And the funny thing is, it isn't even so much the story. I mean, yeah, it is somewhat the story in The Last Jedi, but it's just the person that, and I feel like a lot of that comes off from Mark Hamill hating to have to play Luke like that. That the way he comes off in that movie, the scene where he's drinking the fucking green milk out of the teeth of that creature, and
Blue
the
milk.
look on his face is like, no, it's green milk in this one. Blue milk is the original from the first Star Wars movie.
I thought this was the blue milk.
No, this was the green milk.
Am I remembering? Did I Mandela affect myself? I don't know.
Yes, you
Color
did.
of milk aside.
Color of milk aside, that look on his face is him saying, Brian Johnson, fuck you. I really feel that way.
Well, here's the thing. Like, again, part of this is reactionary. Okay, so this last series that we're watching now, really, I mean, Don, I understand your point of view. I don't like it. I don't like the direction it's going. I don't like the writing. My brain keeps tripping up on all the inconsistencies in the continuity that they're setting up. I'm just, I can't. It's so I understand. Like, again, it's partially reactionary. That said, once they kick Kathleen Kennedy out and the people she's hiring, new people can come in, and hopefully they hire the right people this time, and they can easily bring this back. And then we can all forget this like a bad trip.
No,
But-
you're not going to forget it. They're going to release another trilogy in 5-7 years. And then we're going to go say, hey, this was the greatest trilogy ever, just like they're doing with the prequels.
I hope
Okay,
so,
okay.
yes. I hope so, yeah.
All right.
Yeah. But again, it's all reactionary. It's like, oh, it's over. Well, yeah, it's over until they come out with a really good one. And then everybody's gonna be like, hey, it's revived. Somehow Star Wars returned. It's like, I mean,
Somehow
again,
Star Wars
it's returned. Yeah, the fan base is reactionary, and And
That's
unfortunately,
the big part of the problem.
unfortunately, our society, the way it is right now, the society itself is reactionary and
All right.
very polarized too. So there's a lot of that stuff going on. But in the end, they come out with another good trilogy, like Don says. People are going to forget it and say, "Hey, this is great."
Kassan says the original Star Wars will continue to have fans. They die. I'm not going to argue that, but there's all this comments about the writing in the Acolyte. And this weekend, while we were at the hotel, we turned the TV on while we were cooking, and Return of the Jedi, which is probably my all-time favorite of the movies. I know a lot of people love Empire. I love Empire too, but I love Return of the Jedi because that's when Luke becomes a Jedi and that whole thing, and that's great for me. I know. I have a question. I have two questions about that movie. When talking about writing.
Mm-hmm.
What the fuck was Luke's plan in the beginning of that movie? It all came together at the end by pure fucking luck. What was the plan to get Han out of Jabba's palace? It makes no sense when you break it down. First he sends the droids in, and then the droids are just kept. And then Leia comes in a bounty hunter costume, and she gets captured. And then finally Luke and Lando's been there the whole time in disguise. And then finally Luke shows up, kills the Rancor, gets captured himself, and then lucks himself into killing everyone at the end. And Leia kills Jabba, and they blow up the barge and escape.
Well, there's his plan. He just replaced all the primaries in Jabba's little sect there with all his own people.
His plan is as convoluted as Lex Luthor's plan in Batman v Superman.
No, it's not that bad. It is not that bad.
I love that movie.
It was ever that bad.
I love Jedi more than anything on this planet.
I didn't see any list in his plan for was it peach tea or whatever. No, and it's just no. Yeah, I get where you're coming from, but again, it was a simpler time in real life. It was this, it was like
Kassan, I don't know what you're
80s,
talking about.
But it's
hold
just,
on. Kassan says numbers don't lie, folks. The sequel trilogy lost revenue each consecutive movie. We saw the audience leave the franchise. Each movie made over $1 billion. I don't know what you're talking about, Kassan. When movies make over $1 billion, any argument about losing revenue goes out the window. But
yeah, especially for the executives, because they're like, hey, we made
exactly. That's the whole thing. You can sit there and say this movie made $2 billion, this movie made $1.5 billion, and this movie only made $1.2 billion. They all made over $1 billion. That's all the executives care about. They don't care if not as many people saw the first one or saw the third one as saw the first one.
Yeah, Rise of Skywalker. Even Rise of Skywalker made $1.07 billion.
Exactly. I said they all made over $1 billion. Okay. I love the look on Don's face. He's being quiet and pensive, like he's getting ready to strike. And then let's continue on with down the writing path. What the fuck was the Emperor thinking? His whole plan at the end of the movie was just based on whether or not Luke was going to turn to the dark side. If Luke turned to the dark side, he wins. Otherwise, he fucking loses. And guess what? He fucking lost. He gave away all the information about the Death Star, about the shield generator. Like, the only thing he didn't tell them is that the laser was operational, but that still didn't matter in the end. Like,
but the point was
the
point was he kills him if he doesn't turn,
and he lost.
Yeah, but
because of Vader.
Because of Vader,
fulfilling the prophecy.
Exactly. Yeah. That was the thing that he didn't know.
And Sidious couldn't see that. And like, but like, why give away all the information? It was a stupid plan. He told the rebels everything. It was
because
stupid.
Sidious.
I love this movie, and I will normally defend it to the hilt. What I'm pointing out is there's always been bad writing in Star Wars.
Okay, agreed.
But not like this. There's bad writing. There's plot plot holes and contrivances and whatever, but this is another level.
You're
At
only
least
a
that's my
master of evil, Darth. Yeah, come on. Remember that? New Hope? You all like that, don't you? Like,
Oh, that was written in the
When you
70s.
left me,
See,
I was but the learner. Now I am the master.
that was written in
Only
the
a master
70s.
of evil, Darth.
Dude, that was written in the 70s. You got to make some allowances for the time frame in which it was written.
when
And it
was Citizen Kane wrote?
Well, yeah, but the genre was like nobody expected a science fiction movie to start grossing billions of dollars within 50 years. You know?
Agreed, and I'll stop being coy because the wonder of the original Star Wars trilogy is the fact that no movie looked nowhere near as good as it until like the 90s.
Yeah.
So I will absolutely admit, as much as I love the trilogy that I watched over and over and over and over again, it really was the visuals that sold that.
Yeah.
But when you talk about like, okay, what was Luke's plan? Luke's plan was to go in there, try to make an ally, but in the end prove that I'm going to kill you motherfuckers. I'm going to hide my lightsaber in this R2 unit. I'm going to show you how you're going to take me from vulnerable. I'm tied up on the end of a plank, getting ready to jump in a Sarlacc pit. We go from that to, and I just killed all you fuckers. Like that's what Luke planned. Luke's plan was that I'm a fucking Jedi, and you're going to recognize. You're going to put some spect on my name. You understand? Well, that was Luke's plan.
He's gonna go in with a lightsaber, hold his whole lightsaber sideways, no gangster on all those.
Holding his lightsaber sideways,
like go gangster on the huts, on those gangsters.
Oh, and talk about dialogue, Empire. I feel like I could take on the whole Empire by myself. Like,
yeah, listen, the strength of Star Wars is not the dialogue. I will concede to that fact every single day. Like,
your tauntaun will freeze. If you go out there, your tauntaun will freeze. Then I'll see you in hell. It's like, come on.
Hey.
But there are gems in sprinkled throughout the first couple.
I love you.
Movies.
I know.
Yeah, I know, right? That's like
Harrison Ford.
Now.
That was Harrison Ford's suggestion.
Ford, yep.
Yeah, that was pure him. Like, he didn't think Han would say "I love you" back. So yeah.
Now come on, and we talk about let's talk about this for a second. I don't know if it's really relevant, but Mark Hamill, right? He shoots what is that? A Corvette Summer, and he gets in that fucking crash. His face is all up, and what do? They write it in Star Wars. Oh, that's when that's when the Wampa attacked you. Which, by the way, fuck you, Tim Pool. I'm sorry, Dave, you might have to hit button here, but he sat there and called the fucking Wampa a Yeti thing. Don't fucking critique Star Wars if you don't fucking know the name that it's a Wampa. Anyway, sorry.
Let me. I mean, we're getting to the point now. I think we've beaten this too, but I'm going.
Okay, well, let me say this before we end, then. Okay, because I am. I'm sitting back here with smoke.
Sure, go for it.
Star Wars is not dying or dead. We will die a long time before Star Wars does. I know that's a dark thought. I don't like to think about death any more than anybody else, but I'm here to tell you, and Star Wars is not going to look recognizable in 40 years, but it'll still be alive. And, well, I got diabetes, so I'll probably be in the ground by that time. But, so, get that thought out of your head. Star Wars is not dead. I have children. Guess what they like? All the Star Wars shit you don't like, they love.
Yep.
Young Jedis, the Jar Jar shit, they are into it. Baby Yoda, oh, he will rule this planet for the next 20 years, ladies and gentlemen.
Yoda rules everybody. That
is the point. We've talked about that so many times on this show. Stuff that we didn't like, our kids love. And then stuff that our kids are going to be like, when it comes to Star Wars, their kids are going to love. Like, it's going to continue on because, again, Star Wars is for kids, and they keep trying to adjust it to appeal to the younger audiences. And maybe they missed the boat with the Acolyte, but when Baby Yoda showed up, tons of kids loved Baby Yoda.
But
when Jar Jar showed up in the prequels that everyone hated, kids loved Jar Jar.
And guess what kids love from the Acolyte? That pip droid? Yep.
I
like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how this works.
With
There's
good
something in
writing,
there that
though, you don't have to choose
it
between
doesn't
adults
matter
and
about the
children.
writing. I keep saying that. That's the
It
point.
does. The writing is the whole thing. That's
No,
the
it's
whole
not. The writing has the writing sucks. The writing has always sucked in Star Wars. I'm sorry.
It
I love
hasn't.
Star Wars, and the writing has always been terrible. The original Star Wars were saved by editing. If Lucas's wife did not come in and re-edit the ending of that movie, no one would be talking about Star Wars today. Like when you watch the end of the movie and there's the whole battle against the Death Star, if you pay attention, you don't see anyone talking because they cut the dialogue. Like you see one person, but you hear over the radio the other person talking and vice versa because they had to recut the dialogue because the ending was so terrible that no one would have ever watched the movie. They fixed it at the end with dialogue, with ADR and editing. So the movie, the Lucas, God love him for creating it, but the writing has always been terrible. Yeah,
Right.
like
Well,
I'm sorry.
I mean, sand is coarse and it gets
Exactly.
You know, gets I mean, yeah. Luke.
Some
Lucas
of the writing for
himself is not a
Anakin is
great
the
writer.
worst writing on the planet.
Let me make a point here, and I'm going to show this first. Frosty, our Star Wars, he says our Star Wars is dead. Okay, no, it isn't, and I'll tell you why. And I'm going to paraphrase something that the Nostalgia Critic said when he did his review.
Oh, that takes me back.
When he did his review of the Last Airbender movie by M. Night Shyamalan. You can have a bad episode or whatever of Star Wars. You could have a bad series of it, whatever, but that does not negate what came before it. You can have the good and the bad at the same time. And if you're a fan of it, you can be a fan of what you were originally a fan of, and don't worry. And that doesn't mean that the new stuff is going to kill what already exists. Just like M. Night Shyamalan tried to kill The Last Airbender, but you still have the original animated series, which everybody should go and watch because it's awesome. So, you know, same thing here. If you love the original trilogy, if you loved any of the trilogies, the new stuff sucking is not going to take away from the fact that that exists and that you're a fan of it.
That's exactly that's my point too. These people that are posting over and over again, Star Wars is dead, I'm done with it, blah blah blah, I'm walking away. You were never a fan to begin with. If you feel like I feel like if you think I feel like people who think that Star Wars is dead and they can never watch it again because of this stuff, you were never a true fan, right?
See that you're isolating yourself
Only
now.
a Sith deals in absolutes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Don,
they're all
well
Sith,
played,
then. They're all Sith.
No, they're not. They're not Sith. No, it's just that they're angry that something that they love is being defaced. You know, even
in their opinion.
Again,
that's the other problem is all these Star Wars fans have an opinion on how they think the movie should go, how they think the sequel trilogy should go, how the shows should go,
how
but
rock
guess what?
should be set on fire.
But there's going
to be more to that.
I hope there is. It would be interesting that the plot.
JD should be here right now because he would agree with me on this. You do not create art by committee. If we were to just do everything the fans wanted, we would get something lifeless and dull. I'm not saying the Acolyte's perfect or anything like that, but you wouldn't get any kind of vision if you just worried about creating exactly what the fans wanted.
But you also have to stick to the ideals. And
I think if you created exactly what the fans wanted, you never got Baby Yoda.
No, but you're pushing people away by those statements. It's not.
Okay, what ideas, John, do you think are being pushed away from? That's what I want to know, because I know you're not a bigot or misogynist, so truly, I know you don't have that bias. So how are we getting away from Star Wars?
Well, if you're going simply by ideas, the fact that there was another force-conceived baby before Anakin, kind of, and this is not knowing what comes in the next 4-5 episodes. So my opinion could change if they explain it all. But what they've exhibited in their prowess in writing so far does not indicate to me that an adequate explanation will be forthcoming in the next 5 episodes. That somehow they conceived new Force babies way before Anakin. So,
Okay.
but that's my only real
Fine.
plot point. Everything else is bad writing.
Okay.
All the other little things are just bad writing as far as I'm concerned.
Okay, so for you and everyone else, because that seems to be the major point of contention with this show, that somehow what
the
they've
biggest one.
done illegitimizes Anakin.
Hmm.
So I'm just going to say this simply. There has been a lot of fantastical Force shit that happened in the Old Republic thousands of years before we even get to this point. Look up the Rakata Empire, look up the Star Forge. Now, am I talking about Immaculate Conception? I am not. I am talking about the Star Forge specifically. It is a machine that just builds ships out of nothing. Okay? Like, so there is precedence in this universe for shit to be out there that just creates shit that it shouldn't. And I think, like, the Battle of Yavin in the original Star Wars trilogy and the prequels, like, this is not some, like, all holy text of the Star Wars universe. Like, miraculous shit happens in this universe all the time, thousands of years before we get to the movies that everybody knows and loves. So that's why I can't take the criticism too seriously when it comes to, oh, Anakin's a punk ass bitch now because he's not the only Immaculate Conception. That doesn't take away the fact that everything that Anakin did during the Clone Wars, which for those of you that didn't watch the Clone Wars, you don't know that shit. And that's where I'm going to wag my finger at you. But that's why I just can't take I can't take that criticism seriously.
Yeah.
But again, if you don't enjoy it, please don't enjoy it. Don't watch it. I want you to have a great life where you're happy and fulfilled. And if this takes that happiness away from you, please get away from it because I don't want that for you personally. I don't even know you, but I love you. That's just the kind of person I am. But at the end of the day, if you don't like something, just don't set precedents there where there's none. Don't say the universe is dead when you obviously don't know enough about it. I'm going to be honest with you. Like the Last Jedi. Oh, I want my badass Luke. Like, please don't take this the wrong way, but you apparently don't know enough to know that what he did was totally fucking badass. To project yourself through the universe with the Force.
Oh yeah,
and,
no, that's and
delay a whole army with just your Force projection. Like,
that was supposedly impossible. That like he had to be a master.
Frosty's
right?
asking a question. I'm sorry. Is that canon? Is what canon? I went on a rant there, and I don't remember.
The Star Forge.
Yes, yes, it is. In
So
fact,
Star
people
Killer
forget
Base
this all
and
the time.
Center Point,
Everything
all
that's
of
in
them.
the MMO is canon. Everything that's in the MMO is canon. I know a lot of people don't know that, but it is canon. It has been declared canon. And yes, Revan is dealt in there. The Star Forge, all that shit is canon.
But let's also not say that people who don't like this one and say, well, I'm leaving the franchise, were never fans, because they were fans. They'll probably be fans again. You know, something
Then
better
stop.
written comes along, something more interesting.
Then-
Or hell, maybe if they pull this falling plane out of the fire and the next 5 episodes are awesome and explain all of this, okay. You know, but you
these
can't,
people
you don't
need to
diss
stop.
people that are fans.
But I think people need to stop then going online and over and over and over and over again keep saying Star Wars is dead, because it's not dead and it's not going to die. And these people, when they keep doing that, people
I
who are
agree
a
with
little
that.
pensive and maybe haven't watched the new show are going to go, oh, I guess Star Wars is dead, and not watch it. And it's just
unfair.
You're hurting something that you claim
Yeah.
you love, and that's the problem.
I mean, it's unfair. And people are, again, if you say the Acolyte sucks, you don't like it, okay, I can absolutely see why. Absolutely. But at the same time, don't sit there and say, well, I don't like it because, well, we got these lesbian Force witches that make 2 babies. Yeah, that's what the show's about. Okay, really? Like, take Lord of the Rings. Everyone loves Lord of the Rings. That's a masterpiece. But I can reduce it, right? So,
You could,
yeah,
definitely
Bilbo
could.
Baggins is found to have a dangerous artifact that can only be destroyed by going to Mount Doom. And instead of all the most powerful people in the realm doing the job and using the eagles, they make 2 kids walk to Mount Doom to destroy the ring.
And the hero of the story was Samwise Gamgee.
So
because he's the one who kept everybody going at the worst the worst parts. He was the actual hero of that whole story.
So Kasan asks, how are you guys measuring Star Wars success?
Oh, screw
By
you.
the feels? Well, here's the problem, Kasan. The Force is based on your feelings. So, of course, you must measure Star Wars success by your feelings. If you choose to go down the dark side or the light side, it is all based on your feelings. Thank you, and have a good day.
Nice.
Yeah, absolutely. But me, honestly, I'm very greedy. I measure something success by my interest in it. And
So
I'm interested.
He follows that up with there are numbers. Gotta gather the numbers and let's analyze them. The Acolyte actually was the biggest premiere on Disney Plus ever. That those articles have already been out.
I was saying, thank you, Dave. I gotta.
And it quickly fell. It's very quickly falling.
But how much did it fall by? I don't know
They won't give out
the
the actual numbers, but we know it's fallen quicker than Ahsoka. And the last episode is way under Ahsoka's numbers.
They were quick to come out and say it was the biggest premiere of anything that they put out there. So
yeah, it wasn't exactly the biggest. I think it was a little bigger than Ahsoka, but I think it went way down after that. Like the latest numbers that we've heard. But again, it's a streaming service. They won't tell us exactly.
So, but that's you're basing it on your feels. All right.
No, I'm not basing it on my feels. I'm basing it on what's.
I'm telling you, they've
what
come out
is being reported, which isn't the exact numbers, but we know that it's lower than Ahsoka now.
All right. Let's all right. I'm done with this conversation.
Oh, and Rotten Tomatoes, by the way, it's fallen to 15% now.
Yeah, but that's again, like I haven't gone on Rotten Tomatoes and submitted as a review. Don hasn't gone it. It's the people who hate the show and hate Star Wars and hate Kathleen Kennedy that are going on there and review bombing it. Like
because with hate comes power, and the power to go on and
exactly. Wait, let's get back to the feels. John, you're promoting the dark side is what we're hearing.
Yes. Now, again, like you know what? Given the controversy with the LGBTQ stuff, I would say that 15% isn't real. I would say that it's at least a little bit modified by this contingent of people that also went after the Marvels and you know and other stuff like that. So, but it's still not doing great. You know, I wouldn't adjust. I don't know how much you'd adjust that number, but it probably wouldn't be that much.
It's not a great show. It's not. I mean, I like it. It's not what believe me, when I heard about the Acolyte, I'm like, oh shit, here comes fucking Darth Plagueis and Palpatine. We're going to get to see some cool dark side shit. And I ain't getting that. But I'm not going to say it's dead though.
You just came up with a great idea for a show, man. I would watch the hell out of that show.
That's what I thought this was going to be. I share in anyone's disappointment that my headcanon was wrong. But at the same time, I just can't let the fact that my headcanon was incorrect say that this is a dead franchise.
Everyone is pointing out in the chat that they said it was the biggest of the year. And then Kasan says, which doesn't bode well for X-Men 97, less watched than Acolyte.
It's a cartoon.
It's a cartoon, and B, the X-Men aren't as big as Star Wars. Star Wars is probably the biggest franchise on the planet.
And also the numbers for X-Men 97 didn't fall precipitously. Again, I don't think they fell at all. I think they got bigger as the episodes came out.
Again, we have the most people participating in the chat we have in a long time because we use Star Wars in the title. I'm sorry. It's the biggest franchise on the planet. We're using it to boost our numbers. I'm not going to lie. All right.
Well, it's also interesting to us. We're not just talking.
Well, yeah.
I mean, Don. I mean, you know.
No, when people who don't know Star Wars decide to, Don pointed out one of them.
I'll fix that later.
Oh no!
I did. That one goes there. That one goes there. I'm trying to get this bucket of bolts back together. You're tearing her apart.
Deep get cut. I didn't add the craggle. Sorry.
Don pointed out a podcaster. I won't repeat their name.
There we go.
Who has done a couple videos on Star Wars? Who obviously isn't a real Star Wars fan because doesn't know a lot of things in canon, doesn't know what things are called. They're also a younger person who didn't grow up with Star Wars like we did. Anyway.
Yeah, quite literally.
let's put a pin in the Star Wars talk, and let's put a pin in the episode. Let's go around and find out, did you learn anything this week, or do you have any recommendations? And John, you can go first.
Well, okay. Recommendation. Well, I'm learning a lot about the deep lore of Star Wars, which is way interesting from Don, and I would love to hear more about that stuff. I used to read the extended universe stuff. I stopped at one point after the Yuzavong, and but I missed. I think I missed a lot too. Like all of the stuff about Skywalker's or Luke's wife, and her whole story and all that. So that's something that is really interesting. I think people should listen to Don when he tells them to, what books to read on that. Also, I would say watch Superman, My Adventures with Superman. It's well worth it. And one last one, there is a channel on YouTube called Villain Support, and he does this thing where he's like in a call center and he's helping the villains. He does villain support, and he did one. Look for one of the episodes called "The Borg versus Magic Users," because it's interesting when the Borg tries to assimilate Harry Dresden and Harry Potter.
Aha! I knew it. I knew it had something.
And when they mix up which Harry is which. So anyway, those are my recommendations, and what I learned. So, yeah.
All right, Don,
you're up.
Yeah, no, I learned that people really don't like this Acolyte show. I really been interested. Is it just, the people that are really turned off by the fact that there is some identity politics here? But yeah, people are really critical. I mean, I don't know. I guess I'm just young at heart, and I can watch Star Wars in a way that lets me enjoy the kid part of it and enjoy the adult part of it. I guess I'm just special that way. So that's what I've learned today, and that's okay. That's okay. If you don't like this show, that's all right. Just please don't declare that Star Wars is dead, because it's not. It'll outlive us all.
Right.
What do I recommend? I watched episode 1 of The Boys. So are you guys not watching that then?
No, I haven't watched season 2.
I watch it because my wife does, because I was kind of done with the whole last season ending with Homelander jacking off in the sky. But it's something my wife watches, so I'm like, okay, cool.
They have come out and said season 5 will be the last season. So
yes, they have. So, but yeah, go check it out. I mean, the first episode of season 4 was pretty interesting. So check out The Boys and the House of Dragon. I'm sorry, Kassan, I don't want to disappoint you there, buddy. So yes, House of Dragon.
All right. I learned that the internet is full of hostile people. I learned that
it's full of hostile people in their course, and they get everywhere.
I learned. I already knew this, but I also learned that Star Wars has the most toxic fans on the planet, and the people who yell the most are on the internet, and they get the most attention. And it's not a good thing. It really isn't. Like, people are allowed to enjoy something even if you think it's garbage. Like Don and I are allowed to watch The Acolyte and enjoy it, even if John hates it, even if Thrawn hates it, even if Kassan hates it. Like, Don and I are allowed to enjoy it. Heck, our good friend Mark Ellis over in So Wizard defends The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker. It's a hill he'll die on, and because he's a diehard Star Wars fan, and he's allowed to enjoy those things even if other people don't. So, yeah, I just let's learn to get along, people. All right, I will recommend if you're watched this far into the podcast and you haven't done so yet, click the subscribe button, click the bell for notifications so you don't miss us when we go live here on Sunday nights and you don't miss any of our other great upcoming content. Please smash that like button. Helps with the algorithm, gets the show out there. And consider clicking that join button, become a member of the show. You will be an official speaker. I think that's what we're going to call our fan base, superhero speakers. You will get a badge and some other cool stuff. You'll get early access to all our videos. It's good. Trust me, you'll like it. And also check out our merch over. Link is in the bio. Link is in the bio. Link is in the description below. We got 2 t-shirts up right now. There'll be more designs coming. And up until the end of June, if you use the promo code SUPERHALF, you'll get half off your whole order. And that's a good deal. It really is. Order a couple t-shirts. Look good during the summer. People go, what's that? You go, it's the greatest podcast on the planet. Trust me. Also recommend you go over to superheroespeak.com where you can find the podcast find the podcast every week. Links to all our social media at the top of the page. So much more. Comic book reviews by our good friend Kassan. Oh my God. Chris. By our good friend Chris. Old ones by our good friend Don, and so much more. And yeah, check out My Adventures with Superman, because I think we're going to try to talk about that next week.
And thanks everybody, Frosty, Kassan, Thrawn Kill, and Sky High, and the rest for joining us tonight.
Yes,
Yep.
yes. Thank
Much
you for joining
appreciated,
us.
fellas.
Yes, yes. You guys make it worth it doing this every week.
Make it easy. You make it. It's very easy when you guys are commenting for us.
Yes, and John's also thanking you because you were attacking Don and I for liking the show.
I was not. That's what the $20 I paid him was for. Oh wait,
Well,
did I say that out loud on a stream?
On that note, as always, thanks for watching. Don't let your cape get caught in the door. Have a good week.